So, Phil recruited me to sell these cards, and now I am recruiting you. Don't worry about Phil. He drives a Corvette. He is doing just fine.
What is up, my friends of the internet? Let me know if the sound is okay. I'm using my wireless mic, as you can tell. I'm going live from my bedroom, just like all of my favorite girl boss babes. So, let me know if the sound is okay. I got a comment on my live stream last week letting me know that the sound is typically quiet. So I turned it up and hopefully you can hear me. So let me know. How's everybody doing? Happy Canada Day to my Canadian friends. I'm just posting to my Instagram story. That's why I am staring at my phone. Okay. Let me know in the comments how you're doing, how your weekend has been. Okay, sound is swell. Perfect. Happy Monday, everyone. Okay, I tried to make this a little bit more legible, so hopefully the chat looks okay. Sound is a little quiet. Okay, I can't go any louder, so... Ready to get rich. Well, unfortunately, Suzanne, I hate to break it to you, but today we are not going to be getting rich. Today we're going to be finding Jesus. Oh my God. Buckle up, guys. We are in for a ride. Let me tell you. There was something I wanted to say before we got started, and now I can't remember. I have a new video that is scheduled to come out, same as last week. Once this stream is finished, it will be released for channel members, and then it will go live to the public on Wednesday at 6 a.m. Pacific. So look forward to that. I keep reaching over. I have this like ledge behind my headboard, and that's where you guys are set up. And I keep reaching over to use my trackpad, but I brought my wireless trackpad so I wouldn't have to do that. So you can all bear with me. We have a friend visiting from Toronto, and he's here for 2 weeks. So he is staying in my office, which is why I'm filming from my bedroom. Deliver us from Scam Nation. Yes, yes, yes. I didn't know he was missing. You're in for a treat. Okay, I guess a couple of the housekeeping things. I know members already know this because I made a community post last week, but someone in the chat last week had asked me if I connected with DL, which is a business coach whose like content I had reacted to many months ago. I think like well over a year now. Well over a year ago, her and her friend did a live stream and I reacted to it. Anyway, I digress. She found that video somehow, commented on it, asked if I wanted to do a sit-down conversation. So next week's live stream is going to be a conversation with a currently practicing business coach. I believe she is like part of the Stacey Bayman downline. Someone in the comments who knows more than I do can confirm or deny. But yeah, it's happening. It's happening next Monday. If you have questions that you want me to ask her, please message me on Instagram or send me an email because I'm compiling a list of questions to ask during our conversation. Because my understanding is that it's going to be like a back and forth opportunity to kind of hash out a lot of the stuff that I talk about here on the channel. So... there were 2 coaches on the live stream. Which one is the coach you're interviewing? If I recall correctly, it's the woman on the top, I think. Let me just quickly have a look. Ah! Sorry about that. Sorry for your ears. Anyone wearing headphones? I have the microphone. I didn't want to clip the microphone to my shirt just because I figured there would be like rubbing noises. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to find the live stream so I can figure out. Okay, it's the woman on the top of the conversation. Again, the funniest piece about this whole thing to me is that I don't know who this woman is. That video, that live stream that I reacted to, was sent to me by someone else. And so a lot of these coaches, I was out for a walk with my friend the other day and she was asking me, like, have you ever gotten backlash from any of these people that you talk about? And like I say every single time on this channel, with the exception of like Jay Shetty, Brooke Castillo, and Stacey Bayman, I would say the majority of content and people that I react to on this channel, I don't know who they are. I don't really care who they are. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about what they're saying. Even with like the bigger name coaches who I do name by name, I'm not talking about Brooke Castillo. I'm talking about why what she's doing is, in my opinion, problematic, right? So when these people get so upset that I talked about them on my YouTube channel, I can't help but laugh because I don't even know who they are. I don't know anything about you. I don't really care, to be honest. I just think what you're doing is problematic, and here's why. So anyway, I think it'll be interesting to have a conversation. Hopefully it's productive. If it goes off the rails, prepare to help me deal with that. I'll just pretend my internet got disconnected. Yeah, maybe we could set that up actually. So Chai says the convo is going to be so entertaining. You should open up a live call. People can ask questions directly. If you want, I think the easiest way to do this would be to send me a voice note and then I can play the voice notes maybe. Otherwise, I'll talk to Marco and see how he does it because I know he does like a call-in show. But if I can't figure out the tech on that, we could do it that way as well. David says, I have so many questions for her. Send them to me. Send me all your questions. And obviously we'll have the live chat. So if people ask questions in the chat, we can also pull them up on screen and do it that way. I mean, kudos to her for coming on here because I feel like, what's the phrase? Like the coming into the lion's den or something like that? Like, I don't know. It should be interesting. A live call-in show when you interview would be epic. Yeah, I'll see if there's a way for us to set that up. Yeah, because one of them was in their bed and one of them was in their office. I believe so. It's the woman on the top of the screen if you go back and watch that stream. Okay, yeah, Julia says yes. Exactly, Suzanne. It's about the practices, not the people. It's about the bullshit that they're saying, not who it is that's saying it. I don't care who's saying it. It could be my mom, and I would still say, yo, you're being problematic, lady. That's how I talk to my mother. Will bring the popcorn. I'm not worried about being sued because I'm not saying anything about the people. Again, I don't really care who these people are. I'm allowed to have opinions about why I think something someone does is problematic. It's just my opinion, allegedly. In fact, if you're new here, everything that I say here is just my opinion. I'm just a random girl on the internet. What do I know, guys? I'm not saying any of this is true. It's just what I think. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to get caught up on the comments. Yes, so it will be the same format as... because we're going to stream it to both of our channels, I'm going to be using Restream, which takes the comments and puts it into one single chat. So if you go back to the stream I did with Kathy a couple weeks ago, the ADHD coach, how we have the chat on screen from both of our channels, that's what the format is going to look like. So any questions that you guys ask or any comments that you make, she will be able to see them as we're talking. Yes, and I also need to go back. So Suzanne is saying, I haven't watched that stream yet. I will do before next week. I have to go and rewatch it as well because, again, it was well over a year ago. I don't remember anything that I said in that video. You know, I made a post on Threads the other day because someone commented on a video. I think it was my NLP video. Very, very angry. They made like a whole multiple paragraph long comment about, you know, why I'm wrong and I'm an idiot and da-da-da-da-da. Thank you so much. Welcome to the channel. Anyway, I digress. I made a thread talking about how if you're going to get mad at me for stuff that I say, Totally fine. I don't care. Please put a timestamp. Tell me what I said that was wrong and where in the video I said it. Because if you think I'm going to remember what I said in a video that I published 8 months ago, 12 months ago, literally probably last week even, I'm not. I'm not going to remember. I don't even remember what I said yesterday, so don't expect me to remember what I said a year ago. Especially if you don't like what I said, please put it in air quotes. Give me a timestamp, something for me to go off of, because I have a horrible memory. Okay, so Chai says someone had linked the video in a recent Reddit thread that was asking about DL and Kristen, and that's how she found it. Makes sense, because she also tagged me in a post on Reddit where someone had written, like, I hope Danielle Ryan reacts to this on her channel. So I didn't notice that my link had previously been shared. I was curious just because that video only has like 600 views. So it's like, unless one of her clients found it or something. Again, because I don't use names, it's not like it's searchable in the algorithm. I'll make sure to link it in the community tab. So Created by EGF is saying I need to go back and watch that. So I'll make sure, or if Suzanne or Harrison could link it in the live chat here, that would be very helpful. But I'll also make a community post. Yeah, Suzanne says both of your channels, that's super brave. Honestly, I commend her for coming on, and I'm curious to see if any of her clients and stuff will come on and watch as well. It should be interesting. Jackie says, whatever you're watching tonight, not sure if I have the heart to stay because religion shit drives me crazy. So tonight we're actually going to be looking at a coach who, I forget how Hillary explained this. It's like my coach's grandmother coach. So there's like this lady, and then the woman that coached me and her friend are under this woman. Anyway, she used to be really big in the like spiritual manifestation space, very aligned with Catherine Zenkina, the manifestation babe. I don't know, maybe Hillary can fill us in. I don't know if these two were sidelines, like if they're equivalent or if one is under the other. But anyway, she's up there in the spiritual manifestation space. And basically, I believe it was about a year or two ago, she made this complete 180 switch to no longer believing in the manifestation stuff and now finding the Bible and Jesus and all of that. So we're going to kind of look at some of her older content, and then we're going to listen to her podcast. I haven't looked at any of this, so we're all going to be learning together. Okay. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Harrison. They both linked the Jinx. They both linked the stream in the live chat if you want to go and get caught up. Can you do a live stream or video on the new faceless digital marketing? Yeah, maybe I'll make that episode 5 of the social media scam series. Because I talked about like digital products and stuff, but I didn't specifically look at like faceless digital marketing. So maybe that would be a good one to do for number 5. Amanda says, I've noticed a trend. Thank you, Marie. Welcome. Or are you celebrating? Celebrating 6 months. Amazing. Halfway to a unicorn. I love it. And your face should have changed colors too if you reach 6 months. It's hard for me to tell in the streaming platform. But thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. And billionaires, if you're watching, we have a call tomorrow. So I will see you there. I've noticed a trend of a number of spiritual coaches now taking heavily religious paths. It's also disingenuous. Yes, we will see religious manipulation. And Hillary says, yes, the conspirituality pipeline is real. Yeah, we will see what comes of this. Again, I haven't looked too much into this, so it'll be interesting for me to kind of learn it with you. Space Pastry, welcome. You haven't missed anything. I have been rambling for 15 minutes now. Can you believe it? Okay, one last thing before we get into this. I just want to show you all my shirt, my new live streaming shirt. I hate it here because I do hate it here. I also ordered some, so this is all, what's the word? Samples? Samples, that's the word, right? When you like order from a manufacturer to see what it looks like. I also ordered some sample stickers. So this is what we're working with so far. So this is a sheet that has, I don't know if you can tell with the light, but it's like multiple stickers on one sheet, just so I could see what the quality was like. And they actually turned out pretty well. So we have one that's like wisdom peddler, bad vibes only, the universe is a cult, unregulated as fuck energy, and then this one's hard to see because of the sun. But it says, I live in the river of misery. So I thought they turned out pretty well. So I'm thinking about selling this stuff as merch. Honestly, I just wanted a uniform that I could wear in all my videos. So you're now going to see me wearing this and then the other shirt that says allegedly in my opinion, which I will be wearing in the video that's coming out later today. Procrastinating, I'm here for it. Yes. No, I don't hate it in Canada. I hate it here on live stream and anywhere else on the internet because the internet sucks. I love it. Suzanne says, I want one too. All right. I will consider it. If there's enough interest, we can make it happen. Yeah, we love the unregulated as... I need a shirt that says bad vibes only. Okay, so I guess this is my question. I'm going to grab the other shirt just so I can show you. And yes, I'm wearing pants. I just have shorts on, so it looks like I'm not wearing pants. Okay, so this is the other one. And it just says this, allegedly in my opinion. So again, I'm wearing this in my most recent video, so you'll see it there. But I'm very like, I like simple, plain and simple. So obviously the fonts are all very generic. If you wanted like a bad vibes only, would you want it to be reminiscent of the sticker kind of format, or do you want it like this where it's just like plain block letters? Let me know. I'm open to any and all feedback. I just know that I have very boring taste, so I will wear it to my kids' assembly. I love this. I'm so sorry to anyone watching the replay that's like, holy shit, Danielle just blabbed for 20 minutes about nothing. When are you launching the online course to teach us how to make merch? Coming in 2025. You guys are gonna have to wait. I gotta launch the wait list first. And you can sign up at my website. And then I will tell you that the payment plan is launching for 1111. Oh no, a typo. Uh-oh. Did I? You know what, Hillary? I stared at this for probably 20 minutes and was like, this doesn't look right. And then I Googled it. And when I Googled it, I spelled it right. But I guess I didn't spell it right. Classic. I knew I should have sent it to Hillary before I looked. Now I'm going to look again. Wait, where did I? Oh my God. This is... Oh, because there's an E. Right. Okay. I looked at it and I was like, this doesn't look right. And then, I don't know. I'll try again next time. I'll fix it before I make you guys buy it. Appreciate that. At least it's not a tattoo. Exactly. Easily fixable. You know what? On to the next one. Small sticker format in... So... The thing with the stickers, I have to figure it out. The website I'm using is like a print on demand so that I don't have to carry inventory. And they only had square stickers. So it was more economic to get, like, to buy the whole sheet. So then people would buy like all 5 stickers. But I might be able to make individual options if I can figure that out in terms of like the sizing. Let's all get tattoos. Okay. Monica says, I got my certificate. Thank you. Yes, Harrison and Monica are now proud owners of my $2 life coaching certification. Okay, now that we've sufficiently wasted 30 minutes, let's go ahead and actually look at something. But I do appreciate timestamp 2020. I will absolutely have to do that because this is insane. Okay, here we go. Suzanne says, Melanie Ann Lair has $300 planners, so you could totally charge that for your stickers. Yes, guys, these stickers are going to be the low, low price of $222. Whether you wanted all 5 or not, you don't have a choice. Ah! Okay, anyway. I can't get the frickin' mic to stay. I'm so sorry if the sound is horrible. Okay. Do you have a drink tonight? Good eye. I actually drank a La Croix earlier, so I just have my Yeti with tap water. But thank you for asking. Okay, so this is who we're going to be looking at tonight. And I scrolled back a little bit because I wanted to try and find some of her content because her website, her old website, naturally no longer exists. However, there is a website, if you're not familiar, called the Wayback Machine, where you can go look at someone's website in its previous iterations. So I did that. And I came to this page. Let's see if it works. So this is from August 29th. 2018. This woman used to call herself, or her business, sorry, Chakra Girl Co. Now I can't click on like the about or anything. I don't think it works. This might crash the website. Yeah, nothing happens when I click on it. So we're just going to kind of scroll so you can see what's going on here. So basically, she would teach, you know, the best crystals to use for skincare, beauty, and your chakras. Her daily ritual, which was all like about manifestation and that kind of thing. How to stay motivated and zen when working from home. She also sold a bunch of different meditations, you know, meditation for money and meditation for better mood and health and blah, 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 blah. She had a podcast, courses, and that sort of thing that you could buy. So her whole brand was around, you know, the chakras of the body, healing your chakras, that kind of thing. And so as you can see here, she sold private chakra activation sessions. And then again, also had courses, programs, meditations, that kind of thing related to business. So utilizing the power of your chakras to grow your business is what I believe was her business. And again, Hillary maybe can help guide me a little bit here, but that's my understanding. So here's a little bit of a summary. Again, this is from 2018, so this is 6 years ago. Amber Lee is the founder of the Chakra Girl Co., a platform designed to inspiring modern women to embrace their spirituality while being their authentic and Gucci bag loving selves. So one important thing to note that I do recall from watching this woman's Instagram from afar is that she's definitely one of these like was one of these manifestation ladies who would promote a like luxurious lifestyle. So learn how to manifest money so that you can live in a luxury apartment. Learn how to manifest money so you can buy luxury goods, you know, that kind of thing. So just to give you kind of a little bit more of a picture in terms of what style of spirituality, because I feel like there's the woo-woo, frolicking in the grass, in tune with the earth spirituality. And then there's like the manifestation babe, let's make as much money as possible, Amanda Frances style spiritual babes. So just to give you an idea, she leans more on the Amanda Frances side, in my opinion. Amber Lee's podcast, Chakra Girl Radio, gives her listeners an inside look at the chaos, drama, and happenings that take place between meditations when you're living a fast-paced life. If you're being called to tap into your chakra energy, Amber Lee is your girl. Whether you take one of her business courses, have a private chakra activation session, or zen out to her guided meditations and podcast. So I find it interesting here that she doesn't really explain any backstory. So typically when we look at a lot of these profiles, there's some like rags to riches story. She didn't have that here, and I find that interesting because especially in this time, 2018, that was like the way that you would convince people to buy whatever you were selling. Okay, so then it linked to presumably her Instagram was probably here. The thing with this Wayback website is that because it's loading like archived websites, not all of the features work. So then you can join her email list and then how to get in touch with her for PR. So that was one that I pulled up. That's August 2018. And then I also pulled up another one here. Just wait for it to load. So this is June of 2022. So this is like 4 years later when she had rebranded to Rituals. So her biggest thing was like, I don't know if it was a like subscription or what. I think it was a subscription. But that was like the big thing in 2022. So daily rituals for the modern spiritual woman who enjoys the finer things in life. Again, tying back into that luxury sort of manifestation lifestyle. And I apologize for the really low contrast in the fonts here. Again, I think it's because I'm using the Wayback Machine. It doesn't show up correctly. So I'll just read it so that you don't have to strain your eyeballs. I'll strain mine. On-demand rituals for any level. Your daily dose of frequency activations and soul wellness. When you activate your highest frequency, you manifest the clarity, freedom, radiance, and abundance you desire, but it requires consistency. Browse our rituals now for free. And then all these different images presumably were like the different rituals that she had. Whether you're new to spirituality or you're looking to access a deeper connection to your multidimensionality, we've got you covered with meditations and chakra activations, mantras and manifestation practices, shadow work and EFT tapping, crystal healings, goddess and ritual baths, or bath rituals, sound healing, beauty rituals and lifestyle hacks, advanced rituals including 5D to 12D activations, star seeds, and light code connection, and more. Ritual with us this week for free. Start your free 7-day trial. Ritual with me. A little bit of self-connection each day keeps the chaos away. Ritual with us from bed at your altar, or take us on a walk with you. As long as you're getting it in, you can't go wrong. Get the mobile app on the App Store. So I guess she had an app for this business, which Hillary is saying, yes, memberships were all the rage, especially in 2022. Absolutely. Kind words. So I guess that's probably where she had testimonials listed. And then she had a podcast called Chakra Girl Radio, which I tried to find, but I couldn't because I'm assuming she scrubbed the internet of all of the episodes once she made the switch. But I found a different podcast that she was interviewed on, which we can listen to, or we'll listen to part of it anyway, and then we'll listen to her new podcast. So are you ready to activate your gifts as a healer and to build a spiritual empire? Check out our courses. Again, promoting her online courses. So online courses, memberships, meditations, that kind of thing. And then she also had a newsletter where you could get weekly tips, tricks, rituals, and insights direct to your inbox from your new spiritual BFFs and get instant access to our chakra clearing meditation. So that is that. And again, we come back to her Instagram and you can kind of see like this, for example, my favorite. 5 pillars of a quantum business. Ma'am, I would like to see your degree in physics. An offering that solves a problem, messaging that describes tangible results, value-driven sales strategies, quantum consciousness, energetic integrity. So I'm reading this, I'm thinking, yeah, if you want to start a business, you need an offer that solves a problem. Perfect. If you want to, sell that offer, you need messaging that describes the result that your offer is going to give to people. Perfect. You need value-driven sales strategies. When you go to sell, you need to talk about the value of the thing that you're selling. Awesome. Quantum consciousness, what is that? What does that even mean? Can you guys even hear me? It's not showing my mic as working. So if you can't hear me, this is awkward as I get super jazzed up. Okay, it is working. Okay. Anyway, I just thought that was funny because I'm like, what are you even saying, lady? I don't know. Why do they always say tangible results when their results are never tangible? You know what, Suzanne? Stop asking questions that make sense. Add crystals to your next merch line. Nothing will ward off cold DMs like sharp pebble of opal. You know what? You're probably not wrong. I'm sure she charges a fair and reasonable rate for all of this. Absolutely. What crystal do we use to make money magically appear in our bank accounts? Monica, I actually know the answer to this. If you're someone that believes in crystals, you would want to use citrine. Why do I know that? Because my first business coach told me that. She mailed me a citrine crystal, and I would keep it on my desk with a $100 bill under it to try and manifest more money. Guys, it didn't work, but maybe somebody else had better luck. Maybe I didn't charge my crystals correctly. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to WTF is quantum consciousness. Couldn't tell you. Thank you for sharing that link, Harrison. Appreciate that. Okay, let's see. So yeah, I'll just kind of take a quick scroll here. You can see she has, I don't know, a lot of it's like selfies, but timeline hopping, easy sacral chakra tips. I'm actually surprised she didn't private all of these with the rebrand. I find that quite interesting. Like this. The money and 10K months that new business owners celebrate are actually the least interesting parts of their journey. The transformation and true fulfillment you endure when embarking on your soul mission is indescribable. I'm not saying don't brag about money. In fact, I never would have started my business if I didn't hear people brag about money. Like, what? Ah! Little did I know I was embarking on a journey that transformed all areas of my life. Blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. I think that this, is a pretty brief but clear overview of the kind of vibes that we were going for back in 2018 through to 2022. But then somewhere along the way, we completely 180'd the course of our direction. So again, here you can see tons of stuff about rituals, morning rituals, meditation, lots of bikini pictures, which is interesting for a business, but anyway, none of my business. Talking about dimensional frequencies, what crystals you should wear. This woman also has a crystal jewelry line. If anyone here is a big Bravo stan like me, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is my favorite franchise. And this woman was actually featured last season on the show because she partnered with one of the housewives on launching her crystal jewelry business. So anyways, again, you can see episodes of her podcast, Intuitive Wellness to Heal from Within. I think there was one I wanted to show. It was the final episode or something. 200 episodes of Chakra Girl Radio. Promoting her app again. Sovereignty Mantra. On and on and on. Crystals, yoga, literally everything you want is just a simple vibe shift away. Talking about vibes, talking about shifting from pride to gratitude elevates your frequency. a lot of the same rhetoric we see in the manifestation space, right? You know, if you believe it, you can achieve it. So she's doing all these things. This is her with the lady from the Real Housewives when they launched the jewelry line. Again, here as well. And now I don't know how this is going to go now that she's not into the spiritual woo. Because I feel like Whitney, the housewife that she partnered with, did the opposite, where she left the Mormon church and then became a spiritual guru, right? So Phoenix said, I remember being recommended to her by another coach, and all her chakra stuff was so surface level and how it relates to materialism. Exactly. That was always the vibe I got too. Like, very, again, attached to this luxury lifestyle and how to make as much money as possible. Ray says, when I see this, I think I would have zero desire to put money in the pockets of individuals with such narcissistic personality traits. That's like just something about the coaching industry in general that has always been so fascinating to me, is how blatantly almost self-obsessed a lot of these people are, but how that tends to be attractive for a lot of people. I would love to know the psychology behind, I guess it's like the confidence piece of it. We're attracted to confident people maybe, and so we confuse the like self-obsession with confidence maybe. I don't know. I'm just making things up. Yeah, I saw this. Whitney is ruined. Whitney Rose is doing an MLM now too. Soul People. Somebody covered this recently. If you know what creators covered it, let me know. I can't remember whose video I watched. Maybe it was Sam D's. Anyway, it's wild. Whitney was my favorite housewife. And then after I saw that, I was just like I knew her husband was the CMO of an MLM company. And I'm kind of like, whatever. He's not really a character on the show. But yeah, that really ruined it. She launched an MLM. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Yes, Whitney's husband is on the corporate side of, I don't know now, he was in Modere, I think, and then he got fired because they rolled around in paint on the show. But I believe maybe he works at the company she owns now. I don't know how it works. I forget. I don't follow it that closely, but I follow it closely enough to know that I don't like it. I'm so sad that Whitney Rose is doing all these scammy things. I used to like her on the show before all of this. Exactly. Me too. Yeah, that's the thing. Harrison says, self-obsessed yet painfully self-unaware. It's never the ones you expect. Yeah, I think a lot of it, Phoenix says, I think it's just seeing someone else have what the viewer doesn't, 100%. So you don't even really focus on how they're delivering you the information so much as just like, oh, I want to go on a luxury vacation. Yeah, we project it forward. Like, if she can have it, I can have it too, 100%. Ray says, fascinating. I switched my focus and now studying to be a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I have a year to go and find social media and the coaching industry very interesting. Yes, indeed. JNNX, I'm not really sure this is the stream for you. You're saying creator is a BS term. These people are glorified PR minions. I don't know if you know this, but I am a content creator, so I don't know if you want to be here. And that's okay. They probably came from privileged families. Yes, someone commented recently on one of my videos saying, I think it was the one where I talk about how, like, why I don't believe manifestation is real. And they were saying basically that they have this hypothesis that a lot of these like large scale, successful, financially, outwardly appearing successful manifestation coaches came from privilege. And I know for a handful of them that I've looked into, absolutely, they came from wealthy families. So it's easy to talk about wealth and abundance when you already have it in your bank account, right? Suzanne says, I think it's the ease in which they portray their success that is alluring. 100%. Like, I just created this program and I sold it to 10 people and now I'm a millionaire. Like, obviously, I want that too, you know? It's good to learn how to not fall for manipulation. Exactly. And that's why we're here, okay? Okay, so moving along. Again, I couldn't go back and find her old podcast episodes. But I did want to watch this. So this reel is titled The Final Episode of Chakra Girl Radio.
So many of us are transitioning our practices. So many of us are turning to Jesus. And that is what I've done. If you haven't been following along, I took a big pause in recording because I didn't know how to broach this situation. Do I start a new podcast? Do I transition this podcast? Do I start a new brand? And it took a while for me for everything to click and fall into place. And I wasn't in a position to be sharing all of the things that I was learning while I was reading the Bible and building a relationship with Jesus, because it was all so new. And I'm finally at a point where I do feel more comfortable sharing and pivoting in that regard. I think collectively, so many.
Okay, that was so loud and unnecessary. I apologize. But the caption reads, Chakra Girl Radio released its final episode today. Head to my link to listen. It's a bittersweet day, and I'm honestly flooded with a lot of emotion, as well as so much gratitude to everyone that tuned over the years, as well as the amazing podcast guests. The new podcast, Bible Curious Podcast, launches next Friday. Chakra Girl Radio was more than just my silly little spiritual podcast. And as I move into a bigger purpose, I hope this last episode speaks to your heart and plants some deeper seed for you to seek a deeper purpose and a deeper connection to God, whatever that looks like for you right now. The podcast became a piece of my identity, and it shaped my persona that opened a lot of doors for me, served my life in a great way, aka I got super rich off of it, allegedly in my opinion, and honestly allowed me to be authentically me and raw with you guys always. And now my realness and rawness has outgrown the persona, and it's time to move on with an immense responsibility. My deepest integrity and the ultimate truth. This really is the last straw in saying goodbye, Chakra Girl, which has been the hardest thing I have ever done, and it's taken over 2 years to feel ready for this step. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support over the year, and hopefully for years to come of growing and expanding together. This is not goodbye. This is a heavy I am born again, LOL. I have never felt so much peace and so much responsibility at the same time. I'll see you on the Bible Curious podcast. Love you and thank you all. If she was truly in touch with Jesus, she would not be doing this. Monica. Okay. It is becoming that time of the day where I'm about to be blinded by the sun. There we go. Ah. Guys, if you could see how makeshift this setup is that I have going on today, you have no idea. I'm sorry, but I don't believe her sincerity. When the crystal demo stopped paying, but the religious demo is ripe for the picking. You know what? You might be onto something there. Allegedly. Yes, we're moving into religious manipulation territory for sure. Phoenix says, my theory is that they built their business off the backs of so many innocent people. The karma has come back to bite them in the ass. They've gone to Jesus to repent or something. It kind of makes me think of Brittany Dawn Davis, if anyone here followed that whole saga. So I'm a bit of a pick-me, and I actually followed Brittany Dawn back when she was a fitness creator in 2016, before she became a mainstream scammer. I'm just kidding, but context, anyone who doesn't know who I'm talking about, she was a fitness influencer that sold like fitness coaching packages, basically sent everyone the exact same cookie cutter plan, but charged them all for custom meal plans and custom workouts, and then ghosted them. So she made millions of dollars scamming all these people. Well, basically these people all started finding each other, talking to each other. They created a Facebook group, filed a class action lawsuit. She ended up losing. The state of Texas won against her, and she had to pay back, I don't know, it was like a few $100,000. And now she has rebranded as a like Jesus influencer. So she hosts these religious retreats, and she's repented for her sins and is born again. And so this is kind of giving the same vibes without any kind of admission of guilt. So I don't know if this particular individual got like caught up in anything in particular. Again, I never followed her closely enough to see the timeline of this happening. So maybe someone in the chat knows more than I do, but it is interesting. Oh my God. How so many of these people have these like sudden come to Jesus moments as of late. Okay, Hillary says, my thesis on this whole situation, this is the epitome of you only need to be 2 steps ahead of the person you're teaching in the coaching industry, which is just so shady. Okay, so maybe we'll see that when we get into the podcast of her. So she said in that little clip we just watched that she's reading the Bible and talking about what she's learning. So presumably, and maybe we'll see this in the podcast, in these episodes, she's kind of like talking through what she's learning as she's learning, which is fine. You can do that in life. You can learn about new things and talk about them as you're learning them. But when you try to monetize them, that's when it gets iffy. So I'm curious to see how she takes this new sort of saga of being Bible curious, which is fine, if she takes it and tries to monetize it, because that's when it's going to be like, ooh, this is kind of gross. Yeah, Harrison says the Reformed coaches have never let us down. We have paragons like Brittany Dawn to set the example. Do some of these people who use Christianity even know the history of Jesus, the message, and all of it? As far as I know, I don't think his message was to promote wealth, but give it all up for helping others and God. I could be wrong though. So I made this point in the video I made a couple weeks ago about the new MRR program. So there's a new master resale rights called Kingdom Coaching, which focuses specifically on targeting Christians. And so I said something similar, like, isn't there something in the Bible about not wanting to gain wealth? And someone went off in the comments on me, in the comments on me. Yeah, okay, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Somebody was mad at me in the comments and was saying, well, actually, the Bible says that there's enough for everyone and we should all accumulate wealth. Anyway, I don't know. So to answer your question, I don't know. Go to that video and read the comment. Yeah, giving me Brittany Dawn vibes for sure. I am just waiting for the paid Bible Curious coaching program to launch. You and I both. Julia says, fun fact, Brittany Dawn was my fitness coach back in the day. I got scammed. Ah, I love it. Come tell your story to my audience. So glad repentance to Jeebus is also BS in my world. To each their own, but it's mostly just words and hypocrisy. I think in this context, especially with people like Brittany Dawn, it's like, just because you say that you repent for your sins or whatever, and that you're a born-again Christian, doesn't all of a sudden mean that you don't ever have to apologize for the wrong that you did. Like, I feel like she never apologized or admitted that she did something wrong. Like, she was never like, you know what, guys? I did scam a lot of people. I caused a lot of harm. And now I'm going to, become a Christian influencer. She never even addresses it. She just carries on like nothing happened. And that's when it's like kind of icky to me, in my opinion. Swoop has good videos on her. So does Julie Joe. Yeah, I think most of the like anti-MLM creators have covered her. There's lots of good content here if anyone wants to learn about it. Jesus believes in NDAs. Maybe I should get that on a shirt. Oh my god, this mic keeps falling. Okay, just trying to get through all the comments. Oh my god, wait. I remember she talked about releasing a course called The Kingdom in a rogue email, and it cost $3,000. Oh my god. Why is the Bible in front of her chest? Great question. God might forgive you, but the state of Texas never will. She blames everyone else. She keeps saying she didn't scam anyone. Yeah. Yikes. Maybe we should listen to her podcast sometime. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the business. So I found this podcast episode. This is with the Chakra Girl, Amber, from September of 2018. So again, coming back to the original website clips we looked at, the first one we looked at where she's selling her meditations, coaching, programs, that kind of thing, was from 2018. So I figured we could listen to part of this. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, just so we can kind of get a feel for, or like a vibe of what this woman is like, what philosophy she believes in, that kind of thing. So I haven't listened to this yet, but I'm going to just assume the first few minutes are just nonsense. So let's skip to like 5 minutes in, and then we'll give it a bit of a listen and just see how it is.
And I'll tell you a bit more about her in a minute, but the last few months other than walking. So yeah, that was that, but it was just so much fun and I had a blast, and it's making me so.
What? Hillary says I was on this podcast back in the day. Ah! I'm gonna have to find that episode. We're gonna listen to it. We're gonna blast you. I'm just kidding, but I'm going to find it.
So excited for my own event, which is coming up.
Is it super loud? For me, it is super loud, but I'll leave the volume if it's okay for you guys.
Very soon, and I actually host multiple events each year. So if you guys want to come to one of my events, or you in Spain for another like 5 days or so, and then we go to Brussels for a day, and then I am home. It's really exciting. So let me 5 days, and it was.
Okay, we're going to skip to 10 minutes because this lady's just talking about herself, apparently.
More and insane. So there is so much like juiciness and value and goodness packed into this episode. We're talking about how to find out which of your chakras are blocked and then what to do after that.
Oh my God, this lady's almost as bad as me. I spent the first 20 minutes just talking about nothing, and that's exactly what she's doing. But when it's a podcast, it's not okay, okay? I make the rules of the internet. And this is not okay.
I had no idea what you saw yourself doing when you first started your business, like even when you first started the jewelry line, or is that something that kind of became more and more possible as you continued on your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's kind of like two ways to do things. There's like start small with like, very few followers and slowly become an influencer and like have a 9-to-5 job or have some money coming in from a different way, because it's really hard to become an influencer overnight. Or you can, start making money right away, build a platform, and then use that to, continue to grow your audience. And then you just kind of become an influencer.
Okay, I hate this already. So much misinformation being shared here. First of all, I would think that most people, at least the ones I know, most influencers that I know, and I know quite a few because I am a content creator, an influencer, if you will, they don't start it with this idea that like, I'm going to build this massive platform and I'm going to be an influencer. Most people build their platforms, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever, by just talking about things that they're interested in. Yeah, sure, there are people who come into it very calculated and are like, I'm going to be an influencer in XYZ. But for the most part, you gain a following by talking about something you're interested in. One of my friends is an influencer based out of Toronto. She gained most of her following through talking about a breakup that she went through with her fiance of like 7 years. And then she gained a massive loyal following that way. I gained a following on TikTok by just sharing the behind the scenes of being a business owner. most people don't get into it because they're like, I'm going to be an influencer and I'm going to get all these brand deals and I'm going to make all this money. Yes, people have that idea of like, that would be a cool thing to do one day, but that's usually not the motivating force. Secondly, if you decide, okay, becoming an influencer is really hard, it's going to take me way too long, I'm just going to start a business, to say, you can just start a business and then start charging people and making money and then become an influencer through growing your business. Also not true, because in order to sell things to people, you need an audience. So whether you want to be an influencer or whether you want to be a business owner, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort to build a community, you know, get people to consume your content and then eventually convert those people into buyers. So I just didn't really appreciate the oversimplification of like, don't be an influencer, just be a business owner that becomes an influencer, because neither of those statements were true.
So it was always something that I wanted to do. I will say, like, at the beginning, I probably didn't think it was going to be possible so quickly. But yeah, it's something that I've always
Exactly. Suzanne says, how can you make money without an audience? For most people, you can't.
been obsessed with. Like, Kim Kardashian is, you know, my spirit animal. And I just have always wanted to be of massive influence, especially with this message. I just think it's so important because so many women are kind of like walking around, you know, working jobs that they hate and not really connecting to themselves. So, you know, to have this massive platform and all these different channels to connect with these women and, you know, show them that they can do more is so important to me.
Totally. And you started your business like 2.5, 3 years ago, has it been?
Oh my God, when was it?
Okay, I'm sorry, but the way these women talk, I can't. Maybe it's just because I'm not a Valley girl, but I'm like losing brain cells.
Yeah, like not even 3 years ago. So it was 2 years in January.
Okay, so like I've known you for about 2.5 of those years, or 2 of those years at least. And I feel like I've seen you grow so quickly in such a short amount of time. So what do you think has helped you do that? Is it the chakra stuff, or is it that plus a bit more?
Okay, so definitely the chakra stuff. I feel like we all have superpowers inside of us and they just need to kind of be unlocked. And that's what chakra balancing and chakra activating has done for me and does for my clients. And having that, like, I know it's like so annoying to be like, oh, it's, you know, everyone's like, oh, how did you get to where you are? And you kind of wish that there was like this magic blue pill, but at the end of the day, it's the daily stuff that you're doing, like the visualizing, the manifesting, and, you know, the meditation and all of that stuff is 100%. Also, I just have a
Okay, so in this episode, she's saying the way to get your dream life is essentially, I'm kind of inferring my own conclusion here, but to do rituals like the ones she sells where you have this routine of journaling and meditation and da-da-da-da, that's how you're going to find success. Okay, Hillary says, so for context, the interviewer is a high-level business coaching client of Chakra Girl Co. at the time of this episode. Right. Okay, so actually, fun fact, the woman who's hosting this podcast was the first coach whose Instagram ad or Facebook ad I ever saw. She is my gateway drug into the coaching industry. So just a little fun fact for all of you. And it sounds like she's recording this podcast in an empty room. It's kind of driving me crazy.
super obsessive personality. So when I want something, I kind of just don't stop until I get it.
I love that. And I feel like that's actually really refreshing to hear, because so many people think it's like success is such a mystery, or it has to take a long, long time. But it's, like you said, really more about the being consistent with the daily stuff, and then just trusting that over time that's going to create such big shifts and changes in your life.
Totally. And like, I'm not super down with like the get rich quick message that I'm seeing everywhere in the way that it's being put out there.
Which is funny. So Chakra Girl is the one that said, I'm not down with the get rich quick method. The client, the woman who's hosting this podcast, her whole brand is, I quit my job and made $10,000 in after $10,000 months after 6 months of being in business. I quit my job and have hit six figures every year that I've been in business. That's literally, this client's whole business is built on get rich quick. So it's very funny to me that this woman is saying, I'm not a big fan of that, because it's like, what are you teaching your clients then?
But I mean, it's also totally possible. But it does take a lot of work. Like,
Okay, there it is.
It's like, it's not like I just snap my fingers. Like, I've been working hard, but if you're doing it in spiritual alignment, then it doesn't feel hard. But it's not like, oh, I've built my business by working 2 hours a day and meditating. Like, you have to take like a lot of action too, and take scary risks and big investments and stuff that, you know, scares the shit out of you. But
Exactly. Suzanne says, translation, success normally takes a long time, but if you buy my thing, you can quantum leap and get rich quick. She's literally saying that right now. If you make scary investments, you can move faster.
eventually it just, you know, if you just keep going, it happens. I always say, like, the only people that fail are the people that quit.
I love that. How did you get into chakras in the first place? Because until I met you, I had no idea what a chakra was.
Yeah, so I was a hot mess, like total hot mess.
Okay, this is just making my brain melt. I think we get the point of what kind of person she is. Let me skip ahead a little bit. We'll listen to a couple more minutes, and then we'll get into the good stuff.
But I went off and I was in a meditation class. I remember I was like late for yoga one day, and you know, when you're late, they don't let you in the class because it's disruptive. So they asked me if I wanted to do a meditation class that was going on. And I was like, oh God, okay. And at first I was like, oh, well, can you lose weight from meditation? Like, am I going to burn any calories? And then I was like, whatever, I'll just go. And I realized, like, I was a psycho who could not sit still. And I was like looking around at everyone else and which you're not supposed to be doing, by the way. Like, you're not supposed to be just like eyes open, like staring at people, but I was. And I was like, why are these people so calm? And I want to, like, you know, fidget. And the one thing that I noticed, but I was like swallowing every like 5 seconds. I was like, why am I swallowing so much? And I literally felt, and I had never taken the time to slow down and be still for long enough to realize that I literally felt like I had a lump of energy in my throat. Like there was something going on, and I had to keep trying to like clear it out. And I had asked the teacher about it after, and she said, oh, have you ever like looked into the throat chakra, or like looked into crystals? And I immediately like went home and deep dived and bought a throat chakra crystal, started sleeping with it on my neck. And within 2 weeks, I went back to the meditation class and I was normal. And that lump was like totally gone. And it took it took about 2 weeks for it to work. But I was like, okay, now I want to like try and fix everything. Like
And then I built an online course and I sold it to millions of people on the internet. Okay, we get the idea. So this is who this woman was 6 years ago. Now, I will say, people evolve over time. Your interests change. The philosophies you believe in will change as well. Obviously, I wouldn't have this YouTube channel if that wasn't the case. I just thought that it was interesting to listen to part of this so you can, those of you watching, can kind of get a feel for who this woman was while we move into who she has become. So, this is her YouTube channel. This is her podcast. We are going to listen to a couple episodes. So if you're just jumping in now, this woman has made a transition from New Age spirituality into exploring Christianity. So let's listen to episode 1, discover the journey from New Age to Bible, dive into Bible Curious. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because the music sounds like it's going to be horrible. And let's go ahead and see what she has to say.
I find it so interesting to just dissect them. And I think so many people right now are going through this transition. I feel like there's this global awakening of people really finding Jesus and finding the Bible and finding Christ and finding not necessarily even Christianity or religion, but just gaining this curiosity, hence the name Bible Curious. And I think what I find the most wild in this whole transition in my life, because it really is a transition.
Does anyone else notice how different her voice is? To me, her voice sounds similar, but quite different here.
Like my whole life has been and still has elements that are rooted in New Age philosophies and teachings. And I just find it so wild now that I've kind of seen the light of what I believe to be the truth in the Bible. I'm like, why do we live in a world where it's considered cool and normal and interesting to like shove crystals up your asshole than it is to read the Bible? Like, why am I being shamed? Literally, like if I were to go to my friends and be like, I'm doing this crazy, energy healing, I'm gonna lick a frog, they'd be like, cool, tell me more. But if I'm like, I'm reading the Bible, they're like, like you're being brainwashed. Like, what I want to tell you guys right out the gate is that no one has told me to do this. No one has influenced me to do this. It found me. The game chose me, honey. Jesus found
I'm going to speed this up.
me. I think a lot of you are feeling that way. I'm going to do a whole other episode on my testimony and how I realized that Jesus has been trying to get to me since I was young, but I am finally listening and dedicated. Thus, I'm taking you on the journey with me. Because like I said, I feel like so many people are going through this right now because there was clearly such a
Yeah, a couple of you are saying softer voice, more professional, or Jesus has purged her Valley Girl dialect. That's what I'm saying.
jump into New Age spirituality. Like, I don't know if it started with Lululemon and yoga or what happened, but obviously there was like this huge, it became cool. It became trendy. I mean, obviously I was in it before it was cool. My friend jokes because she's like, she thinks that she brings me back to when I first started my original business, which is called Chakra Girl, if you don't know about it. And, my mission was to make chakras cool. So she's like, Amberly, I want to make chakras cool. Once chakras become cool, Amberly, I don't want to do this anymore. This is lame and mainstream. I'm reading the Bible. But that's not it. That is not it. I'm not reading the Bible because it's different. I'm trying to be alternative. Like, listen, I'm telling you, and I'll share more in my testimony story, that it got to a point where I could not ignore it. There were dreams, there were signs, there were messages, there were what we would call in New Age spirituality downloads. And he came for me and he got me. So I just want to share with you guys, again, I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. If you're like, I'm still into New Age, this is weird, I miss Chakra Girl Radio, just know that I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything.
I don't know if anyone else is picking up on this energy, but watching her and her like mannerisms and the way that she's delivering this, she seems really uncomfortable, in my opinion. I don't know if anyone else, if that's just me projecting, interpreting something that's not there. But for someone whose entire brand is on the internet, she built her business on the internet. I know she's comfortable talking on the internet, making videos. Like, this isn't like this is her first YouTube post ever. She seems really uncomfortable. At least that's the vibe I'm getting. The vibe. The energetic vibrations are showing discomfort. Yeah, by saying I'm not just doing this to be different makes me believe that that's 200% why you are doing this. Zerify says, off topic, but I'm disgusted by these subtitles. You know what? I can appreciate a good subtitle, but these are a little bit obnoxious, I will say. Yeah, so much more reserved and held back. I think she's doing it for the exact reasons she says she's not doing it. I don't know what she's trying to achieve. It's giving cognitive dissonance. Yes, absolutely. When is it not, though, really?
And I'm going to share my journey and my story. If that inspires you to read the Bible, amazing. If you just think I'm a weirdo, maybe later. But I find it so interesting. And just as I, would learn about these ancient Indian goddesses and I would deep dive and read about them, read books about them.
I also love that she is giving a talk about the Bible and she's not wearing a shirt. I'm not body shaming. I mean, I don't wear a shirt half the time too. I walk around in my sports bra, but I'm also not preaching the gospel of Jesus. So it's just interesting to me. Isn't modesty in the Bible? I don't know. Someone who's religious, tell me. Am I making this up?
I just decided to do the same about Jesus and it stuck. And I feel like with New Age spirituality, I was always searching for the next thing. And like New Age spirituality even kind of like honors being in your shadow and like being in your darkness and all of that. And yeah, like I thought genuinely when I was telling you guys that, this new spiritual practice is the best thing since sliced bread. But then a month later, it was something else and then something else and then something else. I committed once I started reading the Bible, not even reading the Bible, just even listening to like podcasts and doing research about God. And
okay, I gotta go wrangle my dogs. I'll let you guys continue to suffer for the next few minutes. BRB!
Jesus. And I decided, okay, I'm going to commit 6 months to this. And if it's not something where I'm like, okay, no, I want to try this next thing, then that's it for me. And it's been it for me. It's been over a year. I really haven't shared that much because I just kept getting the messages like, it's a time to learn. It's not a time to share. And even now, like, I'm not coming here to say I am a professional, what do they call them? Theologian? I don't even know what it's called. Theologian, whatever. I'm not a professional Bible studier, okay? I'm at the beginning. And again, that's why it's called Bible Curious. So I just want to share just how amazing I've felt through this journey and how much more grounded I feel. And again, if you're someone who's like, well, you told me that about chakra work, I'm telling you, this is the next level, okay? And I will say too, like doing the chakra work and the New Age stuff, I think you guys know that like you saw it was a slow transition because even in my old business, Chakra Girl, I started talking about Christ consciousness, which I'm realizing New Age Christ consciousness is not the same as, actually knowing Jesus. But I feel like through the New Age practices, he somehow got through to me and brought me in the right direction. And I'm not necessarily saying that's not how everyone has to get there. But I think if you followed me for a long time, you'll have seen that it was a very, very slow progression. And yeah, we're still at the beginning. And I did an episode on Chakra Girl Radio about humbling because I was, I'm a chakra expert at New Age. And now
this episode is making Bubba very upset. I don't know what they're barking at, but they won't stop. Phoenix says, I'm searching for the new thing. Girl, that's a grift, not spirituality. It reminds me of how Ray Higdon's presentation style changed after he got religious. Very curious indeed. Guys, what are we so upset about? Lucius, come. Come here. Hi, baby. Come here. What's this? Okay, see you later. Are you coming? Do you want to come say hi? Come here. Lucius, come. Come here. Come here. Okay, I got a baby corgi. Hi, everybody. What do you think? So barky. Sorry, I'm like all over the place because these dogs are going crazy and I don't like what this lady is saying. Notice how she didn't know how to pronounce, I don't know how to pronounce that, theologian. I'm just as bad, guys, but I'm also not a Bible expert with a Bible podcast. So what do you expect? Bluetooth, give it a rest. Nervous or maybe way too excited. Pay me money and convince others to be wannabe preachers too. Do we think she's going to open a church? What do you guys think? I think it's a possibility. Yes, precious baby corgi. The pair of these dogs, oh my God. Bluetooth, come. I'll put you down. Come here. Bluetooth, come. Come. I'll put you on the floor, but you gotta come. All right, you're on your own. All right, let's get back into it.
Oh, I am the bottom rung, honey. Like, I am, it's, I'm a beginner. And that's where I felt there was kind of a gap in podcasts and, women who follow Christ and faith-based content, is that it is still they're already very sanctified. They're already very, preachy, I would almost say. And I will preach, don't get me wrong. I'm the queen of loving to give unsolicited advice. But I want this to be a space where everyone feels welcome, and it's for the curious. It's not for the person who's already, 100% Christian, all in, because, you're going to be like, this girl's lukewarm. And it's not for the person who is like, I am church hurt and I am anti-religion. I don't even want to listen to someone talk about Jesus. No. It's for that in between, for the person who's maybe been doing the new age stuff and realizing like this doesn't feel aligned, or like it feels like my work is never done. Like, why is this not working?
Exactly. Suzanne says, I found a gap in the industry and now I'm going to monetize it. I noticed nobody was talking about the Bible, so I decided to read it so that I could make money off of it.
This is the thing. I'm telling you, for me, this is the thing that works. And it's funny because it's not like, especially in that kind of like online spiritual coaching world, it was very much like, oh, this new spiritual practice made me $1 million in a week once I started doing it. Like the ultimate manifestation hack that got me a world,
Wait, is she shit talking this? Isn't this literally what she used to do?
around the world trip, first class. Like, no, that's not what it is. Because this does not feed your ego. If you want someone to feed your ego, unfortunately, you're in the wrong place. If you're ready to tear it down, you're in the right place. And I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna be preachy. I'm not gonna do any of that. But I think through listening to this, hopefully.
Whoa, do we think, this is complete speculation. This is my opinion. I am not stating this as fact. This did not happen. This is just what I'm imagining. Do we think someone like sued her for like not, for charging for coaching and then not delivering on her claims? Or do we think like something along that line happened? Like maybe her Stripe account got banned because she's making income claims that she shouldn't be making. And now she has to pivot? Or am I being a conspiracy theorist? What do you guys think?
Will make you face some truths in your life. Some of them might be harsh truths, and that's okay. So, yeah, I just feel like there are a lot of podcasts out there that are focusing on like the woman who is already in it and she's Christian and she's going to church and all that. This is the step before that. And maybe it will turn into that. Maybe it will evolve, and maybe we'll all evolve and grow and get baptized and go to church. And maybe we will. But this is not that yet. And I wanted to create a space for the curious, for the girl who is just starting to.
Exactly. This comment says, this is such MLM top leader who switched to a new company and is trash talking her own old company energy. 1000%. I used to do that. I mean, that's my whole YouTube channel though. I was a life coach that left life coaching and now I just trash talk life coaching. No, I don't actually. But no, I totally agree. For sure. Okay, Hillary says, I doubt it because she hasn't been doing business coaching for a couple of years. Okay, so my theory has been debunked. I am not spitting facts. Okay? Okay.
Dive into it, starting to ask questions, starting to realize that maybe the new age stuff isn't working. And there are reasons for that are in the Bible that I did not know. So we will be diving into that for sure. And I want us to just show the world that being Bible curious is a vibe, okay? Like, why is it not considered cool? We're cool. We can be cool and Bible curious and go to church if we want to, or, read the Bible. Like, I just think there's such this funny stigma. And it's like, if we think of all the new age practices that we were nodding our head to and like, yes, this is it. This is definitely true. But then like the most ancient book in the world that the most people in the world believe in to an extent is considered uncool. And I get it. There's a lot of people who have church hurt. A lot of people have been hurt by the church. This is not about the church. This is about your relationship with Jesus, your relationship with God, your own teaching to live your will that you came here to live. So yeah,
It's going to be really fun. All right. So again, just to give you guys an update on where I'm at, like I have read the Bible front to back, starting it again. I've learned so so much. I don't go to church every Sunday. I'm trying to find one that I enjoy, but I'm just, again, like I'm just not there yet. But as you guys know, especially if you followed me from Chakra Girl days, I'm all about a morning routine and a morning ritual. So I am spending time every single day in his light, in the Holy Spirit, and, have created some really beautiful practices that I will be sharing with you as well.
Is she gonna sell them? Has she rebranded rituals as a coming to how to spend time with Jesus offer? Suzanne Googled it. Tell us. Did she rebrand rituals into Jesus rituals? I need to know. Harrison says, wasn't this supposed to be her origin story on finding Jesus? This sounds more like a defense as to why she pivoted to spiritual grifting. From one spiritual grift to the next. Yes. Curious, though. Curious, Suzanne, if she's selling rituals around the connecting with Jesus or whatever. God. I don't know the difference.
See, I'm clearly changing a lot in my life. There's a lot in my life that is still rooted in New Age. Maybe that will change. And, what's so beautiful about this process is that it really is a sifting. Sanctification really is like a purification, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I think for me, who's someone who really usually just dives in headfirst to everything, that is kind of hard for me. And I feel like I am in this limbo where it's like, okay, now I'm not like Chakra Girl, New Age girl anymore. And I'm definitely not quite full in Christian girl. So it is.
No. Suzanne says, the kingdom, 3 months to heaven on earth. Join now for 2222. Soon it will be 3333. Trade in your citrine crystal for the Holy Cross. We have vibes to curate. Oh my God. This in psychology is known as religious abuse. Okay, we gotta Google. Where did you find that, Suzanne? I need to see it. Is it in her link in bio? Seven-day spiritual lifestyle detox. Wait, this isn't what she's saying. It's 2222, right? Oh, no, this one's only $48. Interesting, though. So she has a program. This detox is for you if you're feeling disconnected from your spiritual practices, your old identity and goals, and ready to finally love your life now to immediately feel more freedom, abundance, and beauty. Detox your spiritual practice from home, or practice your home, your body, your mind, and your beliefs to make space for miracles and grace. So you'll get a PDF, step-by-step rituals. Oh my God. So that's one thing that we are selling. And then I saw you sent me, I'll just switch views here so nobody can see my top secret Instagram conversations. Click on, okay, so that's the one you sent me, is this lifestyle detox. Interesting. When I go to check out, though, it's only $48. Oh, and then it's linked here. 3 months to heaven on earth. After the 7-day detox, we will be announcing a longer and more supported detox/lifestyle reinvention course and community for our graduates, where you will access your divine path to activate your soul's true mission, financial alignment, your own domestic goddess life, a business/purpose makeover, your signature look and beauty routine, home detox to create your kingdom at home, relationship detox to call in aligned friendships. This program is not fully mapped out yet, but you're welcome to join now for a discounted price if it feels aligned, if you trust me and it feels aligned for you. Wow, this seems so manipulative. Phoenix says she made the Kingdom program a year ago. If she hasn't finished it by now, I don't know what she's doing. Oh my God. Detox equals reprogramming. I think you're onto something. Oh my God. This is crazy. If this is linked to this podcast, I'd be curious if she, in any of these podcast episodes, mentions this like $48 detox. That's how we know it's a grift. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Is this balance and this dance where I don't know where I'm gonna land, but for now, yeah, there's so much learning and so many questions, and it's just fun. So again, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, zero judgment. We're not here to condemn anyone. We are here to just like support you.
Yeah, so anyone in the comments who runs a legitimate business, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a fitness professional, maybe you're some kind of service provider, and you're thinking, is it outrageous of me to charge $30, $40, $50 an hour? Just know that this woman charges $2,000 for a program that doesn't even exist yet. If she can be Delulu enough, so can you.
Wherever you're at, and just like have fun doing it. So I'm going to read some scripture for you guys. So it's Luke 15:1-7. So it says, suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, rejoice with me, I found my lost sheep. I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who do not need to repent. Okay, so if there's any part of you that is like, okay, I almost like I don't feel good enough to be here. I'm not pure enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing Bible study. I'm not, I've been in the new age and I've been sinning or whatever. I just want to remind you, like, I'm celebrating you no matter where you're at. And I know that I'm being celebrated where I'm at. And if you're a Christian listening to this being like, how dare you go out there and start a podcast and tell people they don't need to go to church on day one and that it's okay to not be a perfect Christian, then you're probably in the wrong place. But remember, I'm the one that he left. He's leaving the 99 and he's happy that I'm coming home. So it's going to be a process and I'm fine with that. So I just want to say too, like, again, I really feel like there is a collective shift happening. Like, I feel like Jesus is seeking out the new agers and bringing us home one by one. And you may not know.
I was hand selected by Jesus to find him and to come back to the Bible and religion. Me. Because I am so important that Jesus chose me specifically.
This, but it does like say a lot of the stuff, a lot of the new age practices, it does say in the Bible that a lot of them are sins. So I'm slowly sifting them out. Okay. And it has not happened overnight. Again, there's still lots of things that are rooted in new age. But we're sifting and we're going to see what happens. And I trust like, it's like, we need to surrender. Like if there's still things in your life that you're like, oh, I can't go down this route because of this.
My microphone is about to die. So the sound quality is going to get pretty bad soon. This is your warning.
That and the other thing. It's actually the opposite of that. Because when you surrender it all to him and ask for the guidance, he will show you how to purify your life in a way. And I always ask for it to be done with grace and not too much hardship. But yeah, the things that are not meant to be there won't be there anymore. So I just want to read this out. I wrote this down. This podcast is for you. Maybe you're not feeling rooted or grounded and connected to the new age. Maybe you've tried everything and you're always looking for the next best meditation, the next best practice, and none of it seems to be the thing. Maybe you've heard Jesus calling you, or you've like started to feel the signs. You've started to feel curious. Maybe you're already dabbling in the Bible, or you are already going to church. Maybe you started this path even a little earlier than I did. I know when I started talking about this stuff, I actually had so many people DM me and reach out to me and be like, oh my gosh, I, switched from New Age to the Bible and to Jesus, recently. And I'm so glad you're on this journey. So there's people that are ahead of me in this journey that are probably listening to this. And, no matter where you're at, like just if you're curious to learn more, just stick with us, kid, because we are going to be learning and we are going to be, you know what? You might even be watching this being like, this girl, she's a few steps behind me. And that's okay. That's where I am. That's where.
Okay, again, I apologize for the bad sound quality, temporarily, hopefully. I just find this really odd, as Hillary pointed out earlier, that she is admitting herself that she doesn't fully understand the things she's learning. But I'm going to teach you anyway, even though I don't know. I'm just going to guide you because I know maybe more than you do, maybe.
There I am, and I will continue to grow. So anyways, I want to make this
I don't know about you guys, but like I want to find community in, I have like this shadow on my face. You guys, I'm still working with the setup and the shadow on my face is driving me nuts. So hopefully it's not bothering you too much in the glare. You guys, I will just say, the devil has tried to stop me from recording this so many times. I even recorded it once and then like the sound was off, and then every time I sit down to record, they're now doing construction next door. So I'm like, listen, devil, listen, Satan, we're gonna do it anyways. And it's those things. Hey, when he tries to stop you and you do it anyways, that's when you know you're freaking unstoppable. So what I wanted to say, I want to make this a community. I want to make this fun. I want to meet other women like me on this path. So right now I'm just starting an Instagram account. I know there's funner ways to do communities, but we got to see, like, you know, does anyone even care? Is anyone even going to listen to this podcast? We don't know. So I did create an Instagram account. So it's at Bible Curious Podcast. And then my Instagram, of course, is at Amberly Lion.
Ray is asking, what happened to going to church? We don't need to go to church when we can just create our own church. Okay? Okay, guys? We're just going to create our own. So we don't need church.
Everything will be linked in the show notes, but make sure you follow us. But I want to give you guys like a mini version of my testimony. I do have a full episode planned on this. But Cole's notes. So in 2020, I had like a major awakening to truth with all the COVID bullshit and lies. Oops, I shouldn't be swearing. Oops, sorry, geez. All the
Oh, okay. So this is where the like alt-right stuff is going to come in, I'm guessing, Hillary, if you could let me know. Brace yourself, folks.
COVID lies, I just started to see things in a different light. I started to have an expansion of my consciousness and seeing that not everything that we believe. Okay, this is driving me nuts. Sorry, I'm moving it so much better. So not every I'm new, guys. I'm new here. So yes. So yeah, I just started to see things in a very different light. I started to question everything. And I was really deep in the new age at the time. I was doing like really deep channeling, aliens, like deep new age stuff that I do believe allowed some demons to enter my life, because doing things like that, you guys, like you really are opening up to some darkness. And my apologies for telling you guys to do it and teaching you about it. Please forgive me. Literally, please forgive me. I did not know any better. I thought that was the way. That was not the way. And, you know, it really put me in I don't know, I guess I was in a dark place, and I kind of hit this peak in my business where I worked so hard to reach all these goals, and it didn't satisfy me. Like, okay, I'm gonna make $1 million, then I'm gonna make another $1 million, then I'm gonna do this and that. And it didn't fill me up. It did not make me happy. And then I just started to question the entire world. Like, why do we think that money is what makes us happy? Like, why do we think that? And if I'm not saying you shouldn't have money or you shouldn't want money or you shouldn't, you know, strive for abundance or whatever. I do believe God wants us to be prosperous. And it does say that in the Bible. But, you know, when that is your number one focus, it is rough. It is hard. It is depressing. It is unfulfilling. And of course, the work that I was doing was helping people. So it's not like it was all for that and 100% selfish, but it was also very selfish. Like, it very much was. It was very ego driven. And yeah.
I like how she's saying all of this as if her Instagram currently doesn't still look like this. Like, again, if we... Whoops. Ah! I just outed myself. I'm just kidding. There was nothing inappropriate in there.
I just, like, it didn't...
Susanna and I just talk shit all day. Let me go back to Instagram, though. Like, if we go here... She's saying it was ego-driven. What the hell is this? Look at her picture. It's all selfies. How is that not ego-driven? Sorry, do I not understand the definition of ego-driven? Because to me, honey, are we speaking the same language? I don't know.
If you're right. And I just felt this desire to tear it all down. I was like, this ain't it. This is not it. And I just really needed to quit and stop the work that I was doing. And, yeah, I didn't really know where I was going to go or what was going to happen. And I've just been listening to the calls and the guidance slowly. And it's very slow. I've had to be super patient. And I wish that I could sit here and say, once I started reading the Bible, I became a trillionaire. Like, no. But do I feel 1,000,000 times better? Yes. Do I feel 1,000,000 times more grounded? Yes. Do I feel 1,000,000 times more supported, more guided, more clear, happier, more selfless? Yes. And that feels better than $1 million. I will say it does. Coming from someone who's had both, I'm telling you. So then
Also, coming from someone who's in an incredibly privileged position now, because I'm presumably, hopefully, if you've made millions of dollars, you've saved some of it. So now you have the ability to not have to run your business anymore. You can kind of just like live off the money you've already made and then talk about, you know, I have all this time to come back to Jesus. Some people can't just close their business on a whim. Sometimes people need that income, you know? Like, hello, lady? Anybody home?
I will say too, what was very interesting. So basically, my husband and I decided to move. The city we were living in, this like stunning penthouse in Vancouver, overlooking the ocean. We decided to pack up and move to the mountains, to the middle of nowhere, and that was dark. You know, the beginning was dark. It was a real shedding of the identity that I thought I had, and so it felt like a death. Like it felt very heavy, and there were a lot of changes going on. But through all that, I had a prophetic dream of.
Not to mention, pretty sure her husband is super wealthy. I was wondering, he looks like he is quite a bit older than her. Not like commenting on that. I'm just saying that like typically middle-aged men have more wealth than a woman in her, I'm assuming she's around my age, so like early to mid 30s. If your husband's like closer to 50, he's been working a lot longer, so he probably has more money, you know?
A Bible character who I'd never heard of, I'd never heard his story, came to me in a dream and told me another Bible story, and then kept telling me all these stories I had never heard, never read. And it was like, you need to look into this. You need to start living according to these practices. And I started, and I just never turned back. It just felt so right, so aligned. And again, I'm sharing more of that in another episode about my testimony, but that's kind of how it started. So I will say, like, it takes daily work. I'm not here saying, oh, once you go down this path, your life's going to be so easy and it's going to be perfect, because there is.
This comment says, wow, prophetic dreams right off the bat. Well, you know, she was hand selected by Jesus, so it makes sense that her experience would be way more enlightened than perhaps yours was. That's sarcasm, by the way.
Such a shedding and a purification and a sanctification, and it is a process. So, you know, the battle doesn't really end once you let God in your heart. This is kind of when demons really try to come in, but it's actually so fun learning about like the supernatural side of this, and like the demons and slaying the demons and repentance and, you know, releasing your identity. It's actually just so wild that everything that I was feeling and everything that I knew I needed to do was written in this book. And I didn't know that. And I got guided to it.
We're back.
And I knew it was real because I'd already been shown it and I already felt it. And then and then it just was there. It was there in black and white. So yeah, we're going to talk a lot about slaying demons and deliverance and salvation from our own patterns. And
What is she even saying? I'm so lost. Is she hallucinating? I'm kind of getting that because, yeah, she seems to think that she's a prophet. So I'm a little bit concerned.
So again, there's so many similarities between the concepts, but when you look at it in this light versus the New Age light, it just feels so much more real. And so all the things that you came to me for before, obviously, if you had the Rituals by Chakra Girl app, or if you were in any of my courses about healing and spirituality and, you know, business and purpose, so much of that work is done biblically, and it is done with truth when it's done that way. Again, everything I created before through the New Age was collapsible. It could crumble at any second. And it did. Luckily, it was by my will and that I wanted it to. So I really let it go. But I can almost look back now and say none of that was real. And now.
Okay, this is super interesting to me because what I am deducing from that statement is that her business ceased to exist. Her business collapsed, were her words. She's saying it's by her choice. I'm suspicious because, much like we're seeing in the business coaching side of the coaching industry, where these people are talking about entering their soft era and they're in their personal growth years and they're doing all these things, they're choosing to make less money and they're choosing a softer lifestyle and they're choosing, you know, to work less. when we know they're not really choosing that, just their sales are down, and they're rebranding the fact that their sales are down as some opportunity to revel in personal growth. I'm kind of getting the same vibes here. Oh, I chose to let my business collapse so that I could find God. Did you choose it, or was your business going down and then you're like, shit, I need a new grift to latch onto, and here we are.
Now I know that even though I'm kind of like sifting through the rubble right now, I'm entering a rebuilding stage where the foundation is real and strong and will not crumble. It's like indestructible. All that success before like came with a sacrifice. Like it came with a sacrifice of my peace. It came with a really ego-centered, like drive. And through that, like when you are going after things from that place.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my alleged opinion as well. But this comment says, I agree with you. I think her biz collapsed and she pulled a bead on and went to faith manipulation, allegedly. Yeah, see, maybe. I'm just saying.
You are literally inviting darkness into your life. Like when you are not walking in the light, you are walking in the dark. And if you're walking in the ego, being driven by...
Hillary says, allegedly, in our collective opinion. Now that I keep seeing the word allegedly, I'm like, it all makes sense now. I can't get over how I literally was looking at the word like, this doesn't look right. And then when I Googled it, I guess Google lied to me. Or I didn't read the search results correctly is probably what actually happened. Sorry, dog. All right, back to it.
The ego, then you're walking in the dark and you're inviting more darkness in your life. And that sounds aggressive, but it is. It just is. So again, I don't believe like abundance is bad. But I just think there's a way to do it the right way. And that is that's another journey that I'm taking you guys on. It's like, yeah, like I built this like major success and then I tore it to the ground and now I still don't really know how I'm climbing back up, but I slowly am, but it's through his will. And so that's why I know that this time it's going to be sustainable. It will sustain me. Whereas before, like I said, it came with a price and a sacrifice and I could not sustain it. And one of the first messages that came through when I started doing this work was that the kingdom has to come first. So you need to move yourself out of the way. You need to move your intentions and your desires, move that all out of the way and surrender to the will that was meant for you. And that is when it can be created in truth. So again, I've just never felt more of like a glorious presence in my life. And even though, yeah, am I making $1 million a year this year? I'm not. But I've never felt better. I really can say that I've never felt more grounded.
And again, no acknowledgement of the fact that she's able to not, like obviously making $1 million a year, I don't think anyone needs to make $1 million a year, but she's not really acknowledging the fact that like from the sounds of it, she doesn't have to make any money this year if she doesn't want to. Like, hello? Can we all collectively have a moment to acknowledge our privilege? Please? Somebody? Anybody?
And I'm going to read this other scripture. So it's Psalms 145:5. I will meditate on your majestic, glorious splendor and your wonderful miracles. Because I know that the miracles, I see them every single day now. Like it's just the synchronicities and the small little things. And I just know that I'm in so much more alignment. And then those little miracles and those little moments where I know, I'm supported, I'm guided, he's here with me, I'm not doing this alone. Like that feels so much better than the hustling and the grinding and the paycheck, to be honest. Okay, so I'm just going to read.
That feels so much better than the paycheck. However, I'm still going to launch my own program that costs $2,222. So sign up today.
I really had to like think like, okay, what is this podcast? And I feel like it's going to form into what it's meant to form into. But so using the Bible to find truth and live our lives in a righteous way, practical tips to implement in your day-to-day, a place to feel accepted and not judged no matter where you're at in your journey, a real look at the new age without total condemnation. Because like I said, a lot of these, faith-based podcasts, like they won't even touch talking about the new age with a 10-foot pole unless they're saying it is all dark, it is all demonic, because a lot of them haven't really looked into it. I'm not saying it's not dark and demonic, because I believe a lot of it is, but I kind of want to dissect and be like, okay, this piece of it, it's almost like, so what they say is like the devil speaks in half-truths. So there are pieces of it that are biblically accurate and true, and then there's other stuff that is not. So I want to dissect it in that way, because these real Christian girls, they ain't looking at it that close. They didn't walk it, they didn't live it. So I have, so we can really dive into all of them. And it really is just like,
okay, sorry, what did she walk? What did she live that these other people have not lived? Because she's so humble?
It's almost like, so what they say is like the devil speaks in half-truths. So there are pieces of it that are biblically accurate and true. And then there's other stuff that is not. So I want to dissect it in that way because, you know, these real Christian girls, they ain't looking at it that close. They didn't walk it. They didn't live it.
So is she talking about her former life, her former business was a half truth? Can someone clarify for me? Help? SOS?
So I have, so we can really dive into all of them. And it really is just like an invitation to start asking more questions and a place to ask questions. Like hopefully we can do some like Q&A episodes and like I said, have more of like the community vibe. And, you know, I want to touch on things like conspiracies. I want to get into this whole, you know, like P. Diddy situation, all the darkness. You know, if you've been following me for a while, I used to like send a newsletter called The Weekend where we would talk about all the conspiracies. It was so fun. You know, I love that. And then I'm going to interview really cool people. So some of my friends, I have some friends that are now on this Christian journey. I want to interview some like ex-New Agers. I want to interview some Christians. And yeah, like I think we're going to just hear from people from all steps in this journey. And
Yeah.
I'm just so excited.
I'd want to know what a real Christian girl is if someone could enlighten me. What defines a real Christian girl?
So can we say a little prayer? Let's say a little prayer. See, this is not my good side. This is my good side. That's why I put the mic there. But it was shadowing my face. So we're going to sort out the setup, kids. We're going to sort out the setup because, you know, we can't have the bad side. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so if you're like, okay, I need
John Mark says, I self-identify as a Christian woman. You know what? I respect that.
this Jesus in my life, or if you've already welcomed it into your heart, we're going to just do a little prayer. Okay. So you can repeat after me or just
Okay, we're not gonna do this. What are you guys thinking? Do we want to watch another episode? I am not down for prayer time, so we're gonna skip that. But if you guys want to watch episode 2, we can, or we can save it for next week, or I guess not next week, but maybe the week after next week. Let me know. Yeah, her former conspiracy theory sign. This is wild. She is dropping a lot of interesting information in this podcast. I will give her that. Thou shall be vain, 100%. That was like a weird addition to the end of this podcast. Like, let me talk about my journey with Jesus, but also like, how good do I look today? This is actually my bad side. So next week, I'm going to live stream facing this way so that you guys can see my good side. Yikes. Make it stop. She has sent me down the river of misery. You and I both, my friend. Okay, I'm down for another one. Anyone else? Do we have any other takers? How many people? Another one. Okay, we will watch another one. You guys win. 2 votes is enough for me. How many people watched this? This episode has... I'm so sorry if you can hear my stomach grumbling. I just let out the longest stomach grumble I've ever had, I think. 28 views. Now, I don't know if she streams this elsewhere, like if the podcast RSS feed is hosted on, say, like SoundCloud or something else, but this is showing 28 views, 22 subscribers. I would also, again, I didn't follow her during the pandemic, so I don't know if she was sharing a bunch of like alt-right conspiracy theories. She probably lost a lot of followers, but also the people that were following her for New Age spirituality who haven't converted to find Jesus probably, I would guess, aren't that interested in a podcast about the Bible. Because if I'm someone that believes in like spirituality and manifestation, I might not really be interested in this topic, would be my guess. Oh, okay. Oh, 1 second. I gotta put the dog on the ground so she doesn't break her legs. Okay. And then I gotta, this is just chaos, my friends. I gotta change the battery in the camera. Okay, we're back. We're back. Okay, comments say Episode 4 was interesting. Interviewing her friend / former business coach who basically converted her. Oh my God. Amazing. Three Flamingos, welcome to the channel. Three Flamingo says, new here and loving it. First live, working out the time difference from Australia. Slowly working through the videos. Thanks for being here. Suzanne, we have a fellow Australian. Okay, why did this... I don't know why the camera zoomed in ultra close when I changed the battery. But it's also really crooked. I'm trying my best, guys. This is so stressful. Next week, I will be back in my office with my regular setup, so we won't have to deal with this nonsense anymore. Okay. So sorry for that little tangent. I take solace in knowing our Snark stream has double the viewers of the Jesus Demon babbling. Okay. I know now it is a cross next to the Bible, but all I read was tribbles. Okay, where did Hillary... I thought I saw Hillary's comment. Something... Episode 4. Is that on YouTube, or do I have to find it elsewhere? Let's see. Solo episode, solo episode. So where else can I stream this? Let's go to her Instagram. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, there's multiple episodes. So this one, part 1. Oh, it's a Q&A. Okay, interesting. Yeah, let's do number 4. Okay. I've never seen this woman before. Her coach, I've never even heard of her. Wait, so you can watch on YouTube? Or no? Why are you guys lying to me? Not you guys. These guys. These guys are lying to me. So that must explain why there's only 22 views. I guess most people that listen through like Spotify or something. Let's go for, where is it? Oh my God, this is so confusing. 1, 2, 3. That's part 2. Where's part 1? Part 1. Sorry, guys. All right, I figured it out.
One of my dear friends, Sophie von Marxhang, or Sophie
Okay, this is 1.5 speed, by the way.
VMH, that's her stage name. She is joining to answer all of our listener questions. We have had to make this a 2-part Q&A because you guys brought it with the questions. You sent in so many good questions. Some came in after the recording, so we're gonna have to save those for next time, but I'm going to answer them when I do my next solo episode, which will be on demons. You guys, this is seriously the funnest podcast. I get to talk with my friends, answer your questions, talk about demons. What more could we want? I feel like the first few episodes, we're only on episode 4, and I feel like the first few were very much foundational. There was some heavy lifting. We had to lay the groundwork and the information, and now it's just time to vibe with God and make it fun. So I was just thinking about this today. I was literally in...
This comment says they're both pretty. They should be normal influencers and not manipulative coaches, in my alleged opinion. I was just joking with my partner about this yesterday. I was like, can you just make like a few $100 million so I never have to work again? And I can just be a rich stay-at-home girlfriend that makes little TikToks about drinking green juice and going to Pilates? Please, I'm begging you. I'm looking for a sugar daddy.
my kitchen making breakfast and just feeling so happy and overwhelmed that I started crying.
Oh.
With just feeling the Holy Spirit pour through me and the gratitude that I have for all the gifts in my life and gratitude for this podcast and
Is
for all
that
of you
better?
guys. We are small but mighty, and we are getting so many new listeners every day, and I'm kind of a freak about checking the numbers all the time, but every time I do, they're going up and up and up. So if you want to
Let me know if the sound is better. I cranked it to 100. If it's too loud, let me know and I'll turn it back down a little bit.
forward this to a friend, if you want to spread the word of God, if you want to do it in a fun way, here's how. You know what? If you're just trying to tell your friends about your love for Jesus and you don't know how, you can be like, hey, this podcast is so fun, and you don't need to explain anything, and just see what happens. But if you
I think if I sent this to my friends, they would be like, are you okay? Do we need to take you to the hospital?
are
listening on iTunes or Spotify, please hit subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Bible Curious Podcast. And you can follow me at Amberly Lyons. If
Blah,
you're watching
blah,
on YouTube,
blah.
iTunes or Spotify, a long video to know for all. Her business is svmh.creative. So we'll link you guys in the show notes and also on the website. Did you know we have a website, guys? We do, biblecurious.co. And if you go to the website, you can sign up for the mailing list. So we haven't been sending much out for newsletters yet, other than a little alert when a new episode is out, but we are going to be starting to send some more content because I always have so many things I want to.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to spend the first 1,000,000 hours talking about nothing. I say this as someone who literally spends the first 1,000,000 hours of every live stream talking about nothing. So it's okay when I do it, but no one else is allowed to do it, guys.
And yeah, like, is it 10 years later? Almost.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. That's crazy, right?
I started my business in 2015.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Probably end of 2014.
It was 2015.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, you were my client, then we ended up deciding to host a retreat together. We had our own little podcast together. We had lots of ups and downs. And it's been beautiful. It's been a ride.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know.
I can't believe I've never heard of this woman. I'm going to have to look her up. I'm going to look her up while we're doing this. Okay. Whoa.
Your testimony. I know you've been a believer for a while. I'd love to know what that journey has been like for you. And
Yeah, totally. I mean, this could go on all day, but I'll try to make it quick. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I went to church every Sunday, but I can't say that I ever had an actual relationship with God growing up. Like, it was just something in the background. I didn't even think of it. I'm so grateful for like the kids I went to school with. Everyone was so.
She's in Vancouver too. So Chakra Girl is based in Vancouver, or was based in Vancouver. Apparently she moved, according to episode 1 we just listened to. This other woman is also based in Vancouver. Maybe I should figure out where they hang out and I should go meet them.
Cool and so good. And I cannot recall a single time I heard or had a conversation about God, about Jesus with any of my friends. And that's just kind of like how it was. I just really kind of took it for granted. And then at one point, I even definitely turned away from God. I was like, oh, this is not for me. My family went through a divorce. Even like my mom was in a same-sex relationship for a while. I was just like, God doesn't approve of this. And then like, I don't approve of God. And I just kind of shut that off. And then it wasn't until like my mid-20s where I had, I was going through stuff that truly brought me to my knees. And like it does for a lot of people, when you are in a place where you're just like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't know how I'm going to come out the other side. Like, I do feel like, it's really the only time you'd be willing to surrender fully to something. And like most people, when they're in that moment, I prayed to God. Like, that was what I did. And it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was like little things here and there. But actually one thing that brought me was like probably when I was like 23 or 4, I was seeing this psychiatrist who was like, to be honest, a total nut job. And he was always kind of like name dropping celebrity clients. Like, that was so weird. But
I bet you love getting the tea if he shared it.
Yeah, he wasn't really, he was kind of giving me tea. I'm like, you should not be doing this. This is so sketchy. But anyways, one thing that he did was he recommended this book to me. I actually brought it on here. It's called Love Without Conditions. And look who's on the cover. It's Jesus himself.
Ray says, I would like to ask some simple questions about the Bible to see how many she could answer. You and I both.
But this book totally changed my life. The crux of it is it teaches you how to love yourself, which I definitely didn't at the time, love others, like have compassion. It's just all about love. And I think this, to me, like when I think about Jesus, my relationship with Jesus is like, he is helping me to learn still to love without conditions. So this book kind of changed things, but it wasn't overnight. And then at one point, my husband and I, we had so much going on in our lives. Like, it was just nutty. And I think when cable TV was a thing, he was flipping the channels and Joel Osteen was on. And, my husband had a lot of like really sad stuff going on in his family and in his life. And I think he just loved it. And then we started watching it together. And I love the way that Joel he shares the Holy Spirit, shares God, but he does it in a way that I think anyone from any religion could listen and receive that message and feel peace and feel love and feel hope. And I just love that. And that kind of became part of our routine, is to listen to Joel. And we listen to.
So is that like a evangelical? Who is this? I actually don't know. Whoops. American pastor and televangelist. An American pastor, televangelist, businessman, and author based out of Houston, Texas, known for his weekly televised services and several best-selling books. One of the more prominent figures associated with prosperity theology. Okay. Yes, let's all take a moment to appreciate Hillary. This stream would not run well without her. You don't want to know. Joel Osteen is a terrible person, allegedly. I see. He is the devil, allegedly. Yep. Ray, you did call it. Ray says, I called it. She's following prosperity gospel. What a role model. That's me watching Brittany Dawn as inspo. Okay, got it. Got it. Glad I'm up to speed. Back to the podcast.
Podcast and send it back and forth to each other.
I feel like Joel is like he's the gateway drug.
He is the gateway. And I think what they do is amazing. Like, it's so beautiful that they put that message on TV every single week. And he does it knowing that, like, you know, he does it in a way that I think anyone can listen and not be freaked out, which a lot of people get freaked out about religion, right? So he's just so I loved his messages. They truly like helped me through certain times and still help me today. And then I really also got into worship music a couple years after that. Just like such a different experience from Catholic church and the songs you hear, which I like have a place, but I would just listen to this music and I was like, oh my God, like you just feel, my God, truly, like I would just feel so like the hairs on the back of my neck would be standing up. And I was just like, whoa, like what? Like I would be overcome with these feelings of gratitude and love and peace and just like just this beautiful.
Lady, you were being manipulated. This is giving like, I went to a Tony Robbins event and it changed my life. I've never felt so motivated and focused on my goals as I did when I was in the room with all these other people watching Tony Robbins. It's the same fucking thing. These people are cult leaders, allegedly, in my opinion. I just hate it. I hate it when we're like, this is the most life-changing, incredible thing. It's like, no, honey, you're being brainwashed.
Feeling, you know, you're just like, what is that? So all of those things really brought me to like, just go, you know what? I want God and Jesus back into my life. Like this is beautiful. Like this is healing. And there were moments where I prayed for things and I saw miracles happen in my life, in my family's life. And it's just like, well, what, like that says something to me.
Yeah. It's like, you can't get to a point where it's like, okay, I can't deny this any longer. Like,
no. And then definitely after my kids were born, I really realized like, I was raised, even though I was raised in church, we didn't talk a lot about God at home, but just that presence of God, I feel like has protected me through so much in my life, even though it was just in the background. I was barely paying attention. I was taking it for granted. And I was like, you know what? I want to give my kids that gift. And even more so, I want to create like a God-centered family. I want them to like have that. So it became really important to me from there to make sure that like God is at the center of our family and of our lives. And I'm still learning the best way to make that happen. Yeah, that's kind of been my journey. I could get into like little stories here and there, just like miraculous stuff, but that's the short version, you know?
Like hours and hours.
Yeah, totally.
But I love that you and Dave really did this together. Like your kind of final commitment. You're like, okay, we're doing this for good. I love that happened together. We'll be talking today. We'll be answering questions on relationships, the Bible, New Age, personal lifestyle stuff. But it's just really nice because we did get a lot of questions about partnership. So
yes,
love that was your journey. So I'm going to just share like a very short version of my testimony for anyone who's listening that hasn't listened, but there is a full episode on this. I think it's episode 2. So I was, on and off through childhood. I was not raised in any witch religion. My grandma gave me a child's Bible when I was little. So I just kind of went on that journey on my own. I thought I was always drawn to it. And then again in high school, but then after that, I went kind of strictly New Age. And looking back, I can see all the times that God tried to get through to me before and after that switch. But really, Sophie really started planting seeds with me, which was amazing. And then I had 2 kind of miraculous encounters, I guess you could say. One was like a prophetic dream. One of them was after surgery, like hearing the voice of God. And I just started being changed from the inside out. I couldn't describe what was happening, but I slowly was, turning away from certain things in my life and turning towards God, and same thing, starting to listen to worship and sermons and all these things. And yeah, it just got to a point where I could not ignore or avoid that this path is the truth. So
it's always funny to me. And I mean, I'm sure I did this back when I was in like the coaching sphere, but how these people, and I say these people just referring to like anyone in the coaching space in general, because I see all of them do it. They try to pull meaning or like create connections out of anything. Like she's saying, now in retrospect, there were all these signs that God was trying to get my attention or that God was trying to get me to do X, Y, Z. I'm sure 5 years ago when she was selling her New Age spirituality coaching, she was probably saying, the universe was giving me so many signs and all of this. It's just like they create, in my opinion, just like make up stories to make their narrative make sense. I just find it very interesting because, again, I see all of them do this, not just this woman. All of these coaches.
Very similar in some ways.
Yeah.
So one question that we got was, why did we leave our coaching businesses? Do you want to go first?
Oh my God. I could literally start a podcast with like multiple seasons about all the reasons why. So I won't get too into it, but like there's one version of the story where, just like with most jobs and career, you kind of get to a place where you're like, you know what, I kind of want to do things
Yeah, this is a super important point. Ray says the prosperity gospel mechanically translates this vision into religious terms, as though opulence and well-being were the true signs of divine delight to be conquered magically by faith. The Austins are extremely wealthy and bought an arena for their church. Not surprised that this is what she wants to sell. Makes sense.
It's a little bit different. I kind of want to try something different. I don't know. But there's another version where I learned a lot about myself. I was very humbled, like the technical stuff of just having your business set up to be scalable so that when you have kids, it is easier and you're not overworked and overwhelmed, which is what I very much was. And yeah, I just like didn't get it set up that way in time. But like the reason for that is not just like a logistical thing. There's a lot of it where it's like, I didn't know how to like regulate myself and my nervous system to like have a business that grew that much. And it was hard for me to accept and ask for help and take on a team and feel okay, like it's safe to be responsible for paying them every month. Like there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know those lessons until it happened. And I don't even know if I could have gone back and done it differently because I didn't know what I didn't know until then. And it's stuff I'm still working on now. But yeah, that's the real vulnerable, honest truth is like I was really good at helping people get started and getting things started myself. But in terms of like actually scaling, there was a lot of mental barriers around like, you know, if you scale something, it needs to be, you need to stick with it and like let it keep going. But every time I do something, I was like, this is good enough. I need to like redo it. And that is not a sustainable way of working. And it becomes impossible when you have a child and you're the mother and I'm the quote unquote default parent and all those things, which I want to be, by the way. But like, yeah, that is the real and honest to God truth, respectfully.
Well, and I feel like because it feels to me like your kind of deep dive into your faith was just maybe a year or two ahead of me. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say it's like, it was like percolating.
Yeah.
And I was going to call it skinny dipping. I was dipping my toe in. Now I'm skinny dipping. But I was just dipping my toe in and like, you know, having it kind of be this presence in my life again and turning to it. But yeah, it was just a couple years, I would say.
I'm wondering, because like I'm like looking back when I read this question, it was really weird because I couldn't remember. Like I was like, I don't know, all of a sudden couldn't do it, didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of the sanctification. So I'm wondering like if we were purposely being led away from this thing that A, we were probably idolizing. B, we were spending all our time and energy on. C, was probably highlighting a ton of insecurities and downfalls for us. So it's like, you know, maybe he took away the desire to do it so that we could focus more on God.
Yeah, I think like that is definitely part of it. But I know for me, it is literally kind of a battle with the devil and me. Like totally. that part of me that says I'm not capable, that says I'm not good enough, which is probably like, that is my core wound. That's my biggest struggle in every single way. And it's like, even at the time, I didn't think that was what was happening, but like, that's honestly what it was. Yeah. And I see other mothers who are like friends of mine who I met in the industry who have beautiful businesses and they're totally balanced and they're able to do it all. They set it up in a certain way that I felt like I wasn't capable of doing, but that's a whole other conversation. But like, yeah, that's the crux of it.
Zen Hands is asking, are they going to actually talk about God or just how they found this grift? That's what I'm wondering. Like, what's happening?
If you're going to be totally, like, if we're going to dumb it down to one sentence, for me, it was like, I was believing lies in my head that are like the core things in my head that I wasn't able to work through logistically, the parts of like scaling and preparing a business for childbirth. And it also just became really exhausting.
Or, as Hillary already stated, maybe it's because you don't actually have business experience and you don't know how to run a business. And that's the problem.
I akin it to like, you know, when you get to the end of school and you did all the finals and you were doing all the papers and like writing a thesis or something and you get through it and you're like, I just physically could never do that again. That's how I felt about my business. I was like, I physically cannot do this stuff anymore.
Totally. And I mean, it's similar for me.
So again, they're saying the quiet part out loud of, I got tired of running my business. So I just moved on to the next grift, guys. Guys, if you hate what you're doing, just come up with another way to scam people. That's all you got to do.
And it was like, you know, if we want to get to the nitty gritty of mine, it was that I was so drained. And I think being drained came from a place of probably not having it set up in the most scalable way, but also I was
in the bad
really
energy,
angry. Like my thing that I always work on is like not having mercy for other people. And we'll talk about that a little more. I expect so much from myself and pretty much equally the same from other people. And so I think when, you know, clients weren't pulling their weight or, you know, my employees or whatever weren't doing their thing, I was just every day angry. Like I was every day would find a reason to be mad. And that drained me so much. And again, it was like pointing me, but it was there to point me to wounds that needed to be healed that can really only be healed by leaning into faith, leaning into God, understanding mercy, understanding compassion, not just as these like therapy buzzwords, but from a place of being Christ-like.
Yeah. Amen. So that's the short answer, guys.
Yeah, short answer. So this may end up being a two-part. So someone asked us just to share more about our personal journeys of faith. So I think one thing we could share is a big lesson we're working on right now. So I know for myself, being selfless is something I'm really working on. I'm reading. Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember. I just can't remember the name of the
This comment says they got tired of being accountable to people. Yeah, too many people were asking me for refunds. So rather than issue those refunds, I decided to just close my business and start doing something else.
Book, The Purpose-Filled Life, or The Purposeful Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a very popular newbie Christian book. And there was something in there that said, being humble isn't thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less often.
Oh, I love that.
That like really hit.
And yet you still constantly are thinking about yourself. So sorry, what?
Because when it's just ironic that the name of my first business was Humble, but that's always been, again, not putting my emotions first, not putting my needs first, and getting angry at people, or expecting from people, or like, being a victim in the situation. If I can like look at things humbly and not look at myself in every situation, and look at things, God sees us from way up here. We only see like what's right in front of us, and often really what's the way a situation is going to affect us.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can remove that, oh my gosh, the peace that comes in not worrying about every little detail about yourself and thinking of how things affect other people, like,
Yeah,
a game changer. I mean, I'm sure as a mother, you're already like such a selfless person, but for me, it's been a journey.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think my biggest lesson, or whatever I'm working on right now, is like being able to truly like rest in God's hands. I think part of like kind of going back to the business thing, so much of it was like I felt like I needed to do everything and I needed to be like hustle till I die, even though I would say like we don't want to do that. I would feel like I needed to prove myself and work really hard for my work to be worthy of being paid or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I feel that now it's almost like it's been hard for me to let go of that identity of being like someone who makes lots of money for myself. It's been hard for me to let go of that, even though what I ultimately want is to be here with my kids and like that be my number one priority. And I feel like
I want the life that I want, so I'm going to force everyone else to pay me money so I can live the life I want. Even though it's not about me, guys, though. It's not about me, okay? Don't get it confused. I am humble, and I'm doing this for the people.
Like one of my kids is 5 years old next month. Like I'm just finally resting into it, even though it's what I've always wanted and da-da-da-da. But yeah, like that's my big lesson, is like trusting that God has it all worked out and that I can like lay at his feet and be cared for and provided for, and like that I am in the role that I'm meant to be in, because that is the message that I keep hearing from God. Yeah. So like just like let him like take the, what they say, take the yoke off of my neck and like give it to him,
Yes. And I think I'm so glad that the world is starting, at least the corner of the internet that I'm on.
Yeah. Starting to embrace that.
Yeah. Starting to embrace that. And like boss babe era is over, and like making sourdough bread for your kids is the new. Like that. It's like, that's what freaking matters. And I never thought I would.
Are they alluding to like the trad wife sort of trend that's going on there with the make the sourdough bread for your kids? Maybe.
Think that way.
Yeah.
But, you've been an inspiration, and like watching you parent and, allow yourself to rest and relax. That's something that I admire so much. And actually one of the pieces of scripture that
Okay, I'm assuming you're referring to Vancouver here. This says, rest in God's hands so that God can give me the house in Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy is the oldest, most expensive neighborhood in Vancouver. I was looking up
just playing on
houses. Sometimes I just look at the real estate market in Vancouver because it's fun. One of those houses, the property tax was something insane. It was like $20,000 or $30,000 a month to have a house in Shaughnessy. Time to manifest, baby. I gotta sell a lot of life coach certifications if I want to move to Shaughnessy.
Repeat in my head is from Psalms 23. It's he lets me rest in green meadows. Ooh. And leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength and guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name.
Wow, I want to put that on the kitchen chalkboard or whatever. That's so nice.
That on my arm, like.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
So I just try, like, whenever I need to take a break, I just like repeat that. I'm like, no, he wants me to rest in a green meadow. Like,
I love that visual. Okay, I'm sticking with that. I love that.
So beautiful.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, the trad wife trend is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for this lighting. It's lots of YouTubers have covered it. You can look it up here on YouTube, I would recommend. But basically it's this idea of like traditional housewife. However, most of the like trending trad wives now are like idolizing this specific lifestyle of being a stay-at-home mom, making everything from scratch. Some of them are even like homesteaders, but they're actually making money by making this content around being a trad wife. So they're really not a trad wife. Anyway, it's like a whole thing of like glamorizing women doing the domestic labor, taking care of the children, blah, 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 blah. Lots of creators have done excellent videos explaining it better than I. So I would recommend you go and watch those, but just for a little bit of like a Cliff Notes version. That's the vibe I'm getting here. It's like, I do not dream of work. I would rather be a stay-at-home mom who makes bread for my kids. While I'm also a millionaire.
So the next question was, how do we have a relationship with Jesus? I would say my relationship is a walking, talking relationship. Like I go, my peace, my joy every day, or as long as I can, is like to get outside and walk and get my body moving. And I talk to myself and I talk to God that way. And then I kind of almost talk to him like conversationally. And then I speak, you know, like I just have this conversation. I could look crazy, but I just find like that's my best way to like, I get the messages that I need to hear and I like give thanks. And that's really, it's a walking, talking relationship. And then, you know, we have our Bible study that we're doing right now. And I think kind of, yeah. But reading the Bible, you've really inspired me to get back to reading the Bible. And that's been really cool too. But yeah, I would say it's like walking, talking. That's how I connect.
Yeah. I think that's something I'm working on, bringing that into everything in my life. Like I'm very good at, okay, I'm going to spend this chunk of time in the morning. I'm going to read the Bible. I'm going to do my prayers. I'm going to journal. Like I do that every morning. I do that every night.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, but what about all the stuff in the middle? So I'm really trying to keep that communication open throughout the whole day rather than.
I could do that too.
Yeah. And like, well, it's exactly what you said, but like, you know, not necessarily talking out loud to yourself all day, but like in your.
Exactly. Super conservative and very patriarchal.
Like it's hard to remember, but when I remember to do it, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
And then the other piece that I've been working on is being raw in my communication, because I actually read something about this. I can't remember where, but when you really come humbly, when you cry, when you are on your knees, when you are raw and not trying to sugarcoat how you're feeling, God already knows how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So if you can just really, and even I think it was still that the purpose-filled life or the purposeful life. I can't remember. I'll share it with you guys.
Zen, you should have submitted to the Q&A to figure out what their favorite Bible verses are.
In the show notes on the website, but it was like, get mad at him. Like, be like, hey, like, listen, I did this. I repented. Like, I don't know what to do. It's like, he's okay with that. It's like your dad, you know, like when you know, have a blowout at your dad, like he is there to.
You heard it first. Jesus is like your dad, guys.
Listen and to honor how you're feeling. And I think that when I do that, because I mean, Sophie, you probably know that I'm not really the best at showing emotion. I know that. So when I do that, I feel like the prayer gets answered so much more quickly, and he will immediately show me a piece of scripture, like, you know, something will come along my path that gives me the answer, to a point where I have to laugh and be like, oh, sorry for being so angry, or sorry, I knew you were there all along. Like, so that's another piece. Like, don't be afraid in your relationship to be so real and raw.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a healthy way too. I think we all need to be more real and raw. And if you have to do it, you know, it's nice if you have someone who you can do that with.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we'll voice note each other and just be like, I need to be unhinged for a moment. Like
Yeah, that's a really great point. So this comment says, please don't be raw publicly, Amber. Coaches and MLM Huns use oversharing to manipulate people, in my opinion, 100%. Like sad fishing. So when people create content that invokes very strong emotions, like if I were to make a live stream of me crying about something traumatic that just happened in my life, doing that in order to gain your trust, to gain your attention, and then ultimately taking that like empathy that you feel for me and twisting it into a way to make money in this case. Like if I came on here and was like, guys, I'm so sad because blah, 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 blah happened. And then you all start like, oh, please, if you have any money, please send it to me. And you start sending me super chats and whatever. Like, gross. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I charged my microphone for about 5 minutes, but it's going to die again. So this is your bad audio warning.
Just need to get this out of my body. But yeah, like I also feel like in a lot of the books, like more like Jesus, Bible, Christianity focused books I read on these topics, like that one, Out of Control and Loving It, that I
love that.
Yeah, I find this super interesting. This comment says a lot of what they say sounds exactly like the New Age coach babble. So it's interesting that they're rebranding. Like, I used to be a coach, but now I found God, and now I'm going to talk about religion. But it's all under the same, like, rhetoric. It's the same sort of formula that they follow. It's the same thing we see when people, like, leave MLMs and become coaches. They use the same tactics, right? I think that a lot of this behavior is so deeply ingrained in these people's, like, being that they don't know. They don't even realize that they're doing it. And I say this because, like, even when I left coaching, and even like now, but specifically shortly after I left coaching, in the way that I would like market my business, market my services, was still so deeply aligned with how I would have done it when I was a coach. it took me literal years to kind of like untangle that. And so I think when you jump from like grift to grift to grift, it's so hard to have that level of awareness of like, ooh, maybe this is a little bit manipulative. Ooh, maybe this is like problematic for reasons 1, 2, and 3. You can't see it if you're so caught up in just like focusing on the next thing. And so I think that's what's happening here is we see a big overlap, in my opinion, because they move so quickly from like new age spirituality into whatever this new religious thing is.
I love that. She often shares like these really unhinged conversations with God that she had, like, why isn't this happening? I've done everything. Like, we've given our lives to you, like, you know, and it's like, yeah, you need to say that. He's okay with it. Like, yeah, just talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find your place at Parkway by Bosa Properties, downtown Surrey's most coveted community. The first release sold out in days.
What the hell? She has a sponsor in Surrey. For those of you that are not Canadian, Surrey is like a smaller city outside of Vancouver. It's so random. Skip.
Smell, like have a smelling situation where they can like smell the scent of God, and then that gives them some kind of clarity on something. So I know what it's like to be like, you know, is this him or is this not him? But it really is. I think a lot of the people listening probably came from New Age spirituality. Like, it is the same. And it's like, if you're directing the question to him, no, if you're talking in Jesus' name, like you are directing it to Jesus, he's the only one that can answer. The devil is not allowed to pretend to be him unless you're like,
exactly. You have to deprogram. It takes a while for survivors to unlearn those practices they were manipulated into thinking and doing. And when you don't take that time and you just jump to the next thing, it's very easy for you to bring those same habits and behaviors with you into whatever is next.
Not talking directly to him, and you're kind of letting yourself go on, you know, you're not kind of like totally focused. So don't like, but of course, the other thing that would trip you up is your own thoughts. So yeah, I mean, like, that's another thing is like, how to identify your own thoughts from God's guidance.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's so funny because I've had the same kind of thoughts around like, it's however you receive those messages. Like, some people hear it, you have the dreams. Yeah. I walk and talk. Like, that's what I do. I just know that's what works for me. But I think if you're not sure and you have lots of voices in your head, I think you can just start by like quieting your mind, like stop taking in all this other stuff. And if this is something you want to explore, then yeah, start praying however works for you. For some people, it's, you know, sitting at their bed and saying it out loud. Some people just thinking it. For me, I'm out walking and talking. I used to also like go to my journal and I would have conversations that way too. Like, you know, this is what I'm frustrated with. Like, what do you think? And, you know,
Promotions.
Wait, so is she talking? I just skipped it by accident. Is she talking out loud to herself? I thought she was just walking and listening, but she's walking and talking to herself. Oh no.
As you're asking a question directly to God, getting the answer, and then writing it down. It's not like he's moving your hand for you. In my
no,
experience.
I've never felt that way.
Yeah, I was worried at first because I was like, wait, is this okay? And I did I did the freaked out deep dive, so you guys don't have to. It's
That's
okay.
good.
And another thing too, I love this too. God convicts, the devil condemns. So if you have a voice in your head that is condemning you, making you feel shame and guilt, and you're a loser and you suck, and why do you keep repeating this? And what is wrong with you? That is the devil. If it's from God, it'll be, this is what you do better next time. And it will be constructive, and it will make you, it'll make you want to change, and it'll empower you to change rather than shaming you to change.
Absolutely. And if you're wondering how to tell the difference, like, just ask. How can I tell the difference? Like, talk.
Based on how these women talk, this is how I imagine her voice noting God. Hillary's comment here says she's walking and voice noting God. Hey bestie, it's me. I just wanted to talk to you because like I'm totally feeling so enlightened lately, and I just like, that's what I imagine when I picture this woman walking and talking to God.
To God, if you what's the saying? If you lack wisdom, you should ask God. So just ask him, how can I know this is you? And just see what comes to your mind. See what comes. Maybe like you'll have this feeling in your gut, or you know, whatever it is, and just listen and go, okay, like we'll see, and keep, you know, going down this path. Listen to podcasts like this one, read the Bible, like get involved in a church or something, and just see what works for you.
Yeah. So the next one was how to remember to pray and to build it into your routines throughout the day, which I kind of feel like kind of answers itself, is to build it into your routines throughout the day. But yeah, like it for me, it's like, it's not like it's a non-negotiable. Like it just makes me feel like I do it because it feels good, not because I have to, because it's probably my favorite time of the day. Like if you let it be, okay, this is when I can be the most real, the most raw, the most open. I can just receive this undying love and mercy and compassion and empathy. Like I want to do that right when I wake up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you can just, if we're going to get technical about it, you can habit stack it with something else. Like for me, it's when I get to go for a walk, that's when I do it. Or when I'm laying in my bed first thing in the
Flamingos, you said this, didn't you, earlier? Habit stacking. Walk and talk to God. Ew.
morning before I get up, I'll just have a quick conversation with God, like in my head, or I'll grab even my phone and do it on the notes app, like just kind of working with whatever works for you. Or you could have like a friend who maybe you're on this journey with and you can voice note each other every day. You don't even have to listen to each other, but just to have that accountability, you could voice note yourself to have that accountability too. Yeah. You could even just set a little challenge for yourself. Like I'm going to pray every day for the next week. And like,
Voice note with your friends, but don't actually listen to each other because guys, your friend's an idiot. You're the smart one, right? So like only listen to yourself. You don't have to waste your time.
see how you make it work.
Yeah, the next question is about resources other than the Bible. And I think a really good resource to piggyback off what you're saying is the Bible app. So not sponsored, but open to it. But it is, hold on, let me try and see what it looks like. So
It's called U version.
U version, yeah. So it's the top one there, that red one. And so it gives you like a little scripture of the day and a little video to watch that's like 2 minutes and some things to read. So it probably takes altogether like less than 10 minutes, even if you're doing a little bit of journaling while doing it. And it gives you, it like keeps track of your like how many days in a row that you do it. So, I mean, I love a challenge like that. And then it also has these little plans. So say you wanted to do one, this one's called Get Out of Your Head. And it's like a 7-day challenge or whatever. And like each day gives you like scripture and prayer and everything. So that is 100% my best resource that at the beginning really helped me stay accountable.
Yeah. And I really love that app that we also use called Through the Word. And it's like a Bible study. And it's really cool because there's like a teacher who explains the passage to you or the, you know, whatever it is. And then you go in and actually read it. And it helps because it kind of does a little check mark when you're done. I think anything like that is really helpful too, which also that U version does. You get like a little check mark. They'll be like, you've been here 7 days in a row or whatever it is. So
yeah. And with the one that Sophie and I are doing, you can voice note each other. So you can do this, the course together, whatever you want to call it. And then you can, after you listen to your lesson of the day, then you can send each other a little voice note and your thoughts on it, which is really nice to do with someone.
Yeah.
And then I also like, so I really...
Exactly. This comment says gamifying God. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, for listening to things like other resources, I love Stephanie Ike. So Stephanie with an IE and then IKE. She's amazing. I think you guys will love her because she talks a lot about the supernatural side, like the angels and the devil. And like, I just love that. But also like applying it to real life. And then there's another church that I listen to called Times Square Church. Thank you, Carmen, who is a Bible curious listener who shared that with me. I'm like loving that one. And then I love Girls Gone Bible. I know we're like, they're a little giggly, but did you notice that they made note of the giggliness?
Yeah, I heard that.
Girls Gone Bible? What?
I mean, I don't mind the giggly, but yeah.
I love him. I love him. Just, yeah.
Sometimes it's like just
no, I love hearing like their personal stuff and like
I want to hear the personal stuff all day. Yeah. What are some, and Joel Osteen, obviously, what are some of your other resources?
I would honestly say that's my main stuff. Pardon?
Sorry, what was the other book that we mentioned again that was written by the woman?
Oh, I actually have it right here. Oh, yeah. It's called Out of Control and Loving It, Giving God Complete Control of Your Life. So I would even go on Amazon and just see if any books like, you can look up these books, Love Without Conditions, Out of Control, Loving It, see if any like there's similar books that speak to you. This one's specifically written for women who are like, yeah, they're feeling out of control, overwhelmed. Like Out of Control, Loving It will help you surrender your life.
I got my Amazon affiliate link in the bio. Buy the book on Amazon.
Your husband, children, finances, job, and ministry to God. Great book. Very this is a good way to get into things because you just hear how it.
Has anyone listened to Girls Gone Bible? Anybody? Any takers in the audience have listened to Girls Gone Bible? Let me know.
Applies to like real life things going on in our lives.
And then I think I've shared with you guys, I'm not regularly going to church, but I'm going more often now, like once or twice a month. But I did this course actually at a church called Alpha.
Yeah, I was going to say that's such a good resource.
Yeah, so it was long, like it was 12 weeks. You go like we would went every Wednesday night, but one lady would make baked goods, so it was like so fun. But yeah, you watch like a little video, and then you're in a little table with other women. There's women and men, but I think they purposely group women with women and men with men. And you can just share vulnerably about any questions you have or any doubts that you have. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was like very.
Oh my God. I wonder. Oh my God. Okay. I got to be careful with how I explain this because I don't want to out anyone. I know a woman who regularly goes to church and she was trying to recruit my partner and I to come to this 12-week program. It's for people who are skeptics, like skeptical of the Bible. And you go to this like 12-week program and they will read whatever, like basically what she was just explaining. And the woman who was trying to recruit me into this 12-week program bakes cookies as like a side hustle. I wonder if it was the same program because it was in Vancouver. Oh my God. Can you imagine? I could have gone and I could have met this woman and I could have been on the Bible Curious podcast, guys. Missed opportunity.
Like God 101.
Yeah, and they'll have ones that you can do online and stuff too. Like people meet on Zoom. So if you can't go somewhere, you can do it online. Just Google Alpha course, maybe in like your area or whatever, and just see what comes up and just join in on one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the next chunk of questions is related to the kind of new age side of things. So the next question is, how does chakras, etc., fit in with the Bible? So this is a tough one. I never want to put anyone down or, say anything that offends someone if they have a strong connection to a certain type of healing. And I don't know all the answers. All I know is what the Bible says. And I'm kind of going off of that for the most part. But chakras obviously are not mentioned in the Bible. But what I personally feel about that, and I talked to you guys about how earlier in this episode, but how I started feeling myself being changed from the inside out. I feel like one of the things that I started talking about on Chakra Girl Radio was how the 7 chakras, and this was shown to me in a dream, were connected to the 7 deadly sins. And so now, I was like, while I was still really into the new age, I was like, okay, so that's awesome. So like it helps us overcome these sins. And even when we did chakra work, it was like, the sacral chakra is where you hold guilt, the heart chakra is where you hold heartbreak. But when you activate it, it has these, beautiful things about it. But then it kind of got me wondering, and again, I don't know this for sure, but it kind of got me wondering. I was like, okay, are we actually just like, when we're doing chakra work, are we giving energy to the sin? And I don't know that for sure, again, but it was something that just made me, again, when I made this commitment to God, I was like, I'm going to not do new age stuff for 6 months and see if I miss it. And I do not miss it. And I don't feel a need for it anymore. Did it feel correct at the time when I did it? Yes. But then did my opinion start to like shift a little bit? Kind of. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I'm seeing things right now. I'm not like, it is 100% demonic to do any chakra work. It doesn't mention that one in the Bible, but there are some other things that I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, chakras in general, it's all about intentionality. So if you're using that as a way to be intentional about your own healing, sure. But my opinion is like, God can do it easier. Like, for me, that's just how I feel now. But yeah, like I said, there are other things that the Bible really does speak against, which I do want to do a full episode on.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to get into that now because again, I feel
It's a big topic.
It's a big topic. So I need to figure out how I want to broach that. But I did, it's no longer available. I took them all down, but I did actually go into that in Chakra Girl Radio. So you listen, but yeah, I don't know. Sophie, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm a very open person. So like, I don't know. It's tough. Like, this is where also I feel like there's.
Zip says, glad she's making her own theology on this podcast. This is what I'm thinking. I'm like, she's just like pulling shit out of her ass, man. Oh my God.
A room for a big
Goofy AF is right. Good Lord.
discussion. I haven't really been, that has not been like at the forefront of my mind. Like, are chakras real? Like, I haven't really been thinking about that on my journey. I will say, like, I don't know. I believe they're there, but also I don't know. Like, it's never been, I've always appreciated it. And I have been to like healing things and I do feel that there's something going on there. And I do, I believe in it, but I don't know. I guess I don't have enough. Obviously, yes, I also know it doesn't say anything in the Bible. I just feel like I'm working on other things right now. And kind of like you, I guess you're not doing those practices. I never really did those practices. Like I did it a little bit and I loved your work and I would kind of engage, but I don't know. It was just never like at the forefront of what was on my mind. So I guess I just haven't really been thinking.
I actually kind of thought that what you did was stupid. And so I never participated. I was above it. But if it's good for you, like that's cute.
About it too much, but yeah, I'm curious about the conversations on this. I would like to talk with more people about it.
Yeah. So when you follow like the really like new age Christian accounts, like they are hardcore, hard no, it's all demonic.
Well, yeah, like no astrology, no this or that. And I don't know. I'm still open. I'm kind of an open-minded gal. Maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe my opinion will change later. But
the astrology thing is the one thing that is specifically mentioned in the Bible.
This is a good point.
Well, I'll just get into that one.
Her program isn't complete, so I doubt her theology is either.
So basically what they say about astrology is that, and again, like, I don't know the answer, is that basically the different planets represent different fallen angels. And by saying I am ruled by this planet, like we say, I am an Aquarius. My 7th house is ruled by Pluto. Like I am ruled by this planet. So it's like you're literally like speaking ownership over you from an entity that is not God. So that one I kind of feel a little, I don't know about, but again, it's like, it's not a big part of my life anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's tough. I'm definitely an astrology girly, but not in like, I think it's in a very healthy way. Yeah. I see it. I don't see it as this like all knowing, all seeing thing that is going to tell me like what's going to happen in my life and da, da, da. I very much see it as a weather report. And it's like, oh, I can use this for my benefit, pack an umbrella. But yeah, like maybe that's cherry picking my religion. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. And that's where I still have a tough time, which is really why this podcast exists.
It's definitely cherry picking your religion. I'm picking whatever is convenient for the narrative I'm trying to shill right now. And in 6 months, it might be something completely different.
So
and learn
I'm
things.
open to being proven, open to thinking differently. I'm always open to having my opinion changed, but I enjoy it. I don't check it religiously, but I do. I just enjoy understanding my personality a bit more. I don't see it. I guess I'm not seeing it with that energy of like, this has power over me. I'm ruled. I'm just like, oh, here's some things I can work with and we'll see. But you know,
and so
maybe
and it's like, I don't deny it. Like I still believe that it's like, it's undeniable, but like when you look at your chart, like it's like, oh shit, like that is real.
Yeah.
But what God's been showing me as it relates to anything numerical, math, anything math or science related, is that it's of the earth and it's not like in heaven. It just, that doesn't
What is God teaching us about math and science? I must have missed that chapter.
exist. So it's like, was astrology created to rule humans on earth? And to like, but that's still earthly, but like God can overrule because he's more powerful. And if you live in the kingdom, then you don't need it. Like you don't, astrology doesn't.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like you don't need it if you are. You're not supposed to need it. Like everything is supposed to come through your relationship with God. He has all the wisdom, and I do believe that. But I still like astrology. Oh, you know, this is where we'll just have, you know, the cards are still out. I'm not sure where I'm going to land on this. Yeah, the jury's out.
Exactly. Phoenix says they really expect people to pay them when they don't even know anything. And they're openly saying, like, I don't actually know. I just think.
And then the next question was, what have I done with my goddess statues? Do I still feel connected to them? No, I actually like tossed them all, except for if you guys remember, my giant glass Kuan Yin is actually just in my garage face down in a box with a bunch of wine bottles that need to go. Because like our recycling doesn't take glass. Like we have to like anything glass.
Okay.
So she is in there. But yeah, I just don't resonate, and sorry if that offends anyone who that's like your religion, that I just like threw them in the garbage. But I also tossed a bunch of books. I just was in like a full purging mode, and I mean Sophie knows if I'm do something I do it 100%, and I was like, and sometimes to a fault 100%. So yeah, I was just like, okay, this is done and we're moving on. So yeah, I just don't like, the Bible says God is a jealous God, and I think we assume that he's never not angry, but like, yeah, like God gets angry, God has emotions, so he wants us to be, and not from a vanity, he's not jealous, he wants us to be focused on the truth because that's what's best for us, and not like wasting our, you know, our faith on other things, basically, is what the Bible says. But again,
I don't know where the corgi is. This comment says, I'm getting a transmission from God. I need to see a corgi. Oh, she's under the bed. The neighbors downstairs were like banging on the wall, like doing construction or something, so she was hiding. Poor baby. Bubba's right here, though. That's his leg.
open to.
I know. We'll see. Maybe I'm such an open person that like I'm such an open person that I'm okay to like let people live their lives. I really don't mind. I'm actually even curious to hear their perspective, but I know that that's not looked at as the same way, and the Bible literally says things about that. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm happy where I am right now. Like I'm building my relationship, but yeah, it's tough to.
It was hard to read that. It was like really hard for me to read that, and I'm like, okay, wait, what? Like, it's like idolatry, making something else an idol.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I 100% do that, and I felt this like strong conviction of like, okay, like it's like he puts that sin as bad as like sexual immorality. Like he sees it as like a really bad one.
And I think you just have to look at yourself and go, what is my intentionality behind, you know, reading my horoscope, or like having these statues or having these crystals? Like what kind of power am I giving this thing? And then I think it depends. And it's like, well, and if you don't give it any.
Exactly. She thinks she's an expert by just reading the Bible one time, not even getting classes or getting to know the whole history. It's like the level of delusion and self-importance that people like this exhibit to me is just absolutely wild. And again, this behavior is not unique. We see it all the time with so many of these coaches. Just like the false sense of confidence to me is mind-blowing. It's baffling, truly.
Power, then like, what do you need it for, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's a funny little thing. I don't have such strong opinions on it right now, but
yeah,
we'll see.
It'll be. And that's the thing too. It's like I feel like as we go down our journeys, like we probably will feel convicted around different things at different times. But then it's like, is that? I don't know. I'm open to being wrong.
Trust me,
what
you're wrong.
to do if you see your friend going down a cultish, sad, spiritual thing that you know is a bad vibe? So that's kind of the same question, or not the same question, but kind of like similar. Is like, do you know it's a bad vibe? I think the key is to like ask them what intrigues them about it, and be genuinely curious and share your perspective. But being concerned for someone is kind of condescending. But I think you can. I think you can just ask them and then be like, this is my perspective. You know, actually, I go to God with these things. And I mean, similar, Sophie, to when I had my meltdown in Bali and you were like, hey, when I feel this way, I say this to God, or I ask God for help, or I pray and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like that. It never felt like condescending or like, hey, you should do this, or like, it was just like, this is what I do kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this because I watched that. Did you see the Dancing with the Devil?
No, but I've heard about it.
So of course I was thinking about this. I was just thinking, gosh, what if my daughter got involved in a cult? Like, what would I actually do? And you think, oh my gosh, if that happened to my sister, this and that, I would go get her, I'd lock her in the house. And like you say you would do those things, but you can't actually do those things and you wouldn't. And it's like, okay, so what would I do? And I think it comes back to literally you can pray for people. Like I haven't had to deal with people in a cult, but I've had to deal with people I really love and care about my life, struggle with addiction, struggle with, a low self-worth that is putting them in dangerous situations, things like that, things that really felt like out of my control. And I did surrender those to God. I asked God to take care of those things. And it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen. And then it's like I think there's praying for them. There's asking God for what you should do. And then, yes, I think it's like, staying involved, like, yeah, be a compassionate friend, be interested, like try to stay involved without positioning yourself as an enemy.
Ray, have you not learned anything from these girl boss business babes? School is a waste of your money. If you want to be wealthy, you just have to show up confidently and believe you're going to be successful. And the Delulu will make it come true. Okay? Okay, drop out of school. This is my advice for you. Drop out of school. Pay me $10,000. Thanks.
Which will kind of get you on the outs really quick. Like cults are really like powerful and scary if that's what they're actually involved in. But just also get curious about your friend. Like, why is she or he so intrigued about this? And like stay involved in their life.
Exactly. Monica says they're already involved in a cult. Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hello. Pot kettle is calling.
And just be a curious person without putting too much on them. And then I think like for most of my friends, if I know they're going through something and like I'm understanding why this would be intriguing or enticing to that person. If I see like scripture or a book or a podcast that I think would like be helpful to them, I'm going to send it. And like they can take with it whatever they want from it. And I try to be like the light. But yeah, I think it comes honestly down to like prayer. Some things are so big, you really have to.
We aren't cult leaders, guys. We're just being the light. # be the light.
You can't control an adult. You know what I mean? They're going to do what they're going to do. And all you can do is like, yeah, be that compassionate person and stay involved. But you also have to set boundaries for yourself. But ask God to take it on because some jobs are.
I kind of want to get that on a shirt. Be confident, be pretty, be delusional.
Like honestly too big for us mere mortals, truly.
Yeah. And I love the saying, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. Like you can't be mad at the person for whatever lifestyle they're living and whatever they're doing. They're doing it from a place of searching for something.
Yeah, there's like they want love and hopefulness and whatever. Like that's why they're there and they're not feeling that in their lives. And you're like, well, why? Like what happened to you? And not from a condescending way, but just try to be curious about like how your friend got here. And try to be a support and be a light. Like ask them, maybe try to like, see for yourself. I don't know. That's a slippery slope, but ask them to come to your stuff too. And, that's all you can do. And then set boundaries for yourself.
And I like what you said about asking God how to help them because I'm a fixer. So as soon as something happens, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to fix them. This is how I'm going to, but then it's like, okay, no, like this is not.
This is how I'm going to fix them. Sorry.
My fight. Like I need to really see where do I have a place in this and what does that look like? And it for me is always taking a breath and not reacting right away and really being patient until I get the answer that feels right and isn't from a knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, I need to fix it.
And too, my friend and I have a funny little thing that we say and do. It's like we call on like whatever Jesus we need. It'll be like, okay, we need like intervention, Dr. Jesus. Like, please take care of the situation. Oh my gosh, we need lawyer Jesus. Like, please figure this out for us. I need exterminator Jesus. Like, whatever you need, like call upon Jesus and God to take care of it for you. I love like just handing things over to them. That's what they want. That's like, they care about you. They want things to go well for you and they want to take things off your plate, but you have to ask. So that's my thoughts around.
I'm sorry. Who is they? Who are they talking about? I'm confused
on that. And I think like cults and stuff. Yeah. You probably need them to do some miracles for you.
Send them that cult movie and see what they think.
They're like, oh my God, this is so crazy. What do you think?
Thank you guys.
What did we just listen to, guys? I cannot do part 2. This is too much for me, but I hated that. That's for sure. Really, really, really hate it here, in case anyone was wondering. Oh my God. Transactional G's. That's my favorite. That's my favorite kind of Jesus, honestly. Transactional Jesus, baby. Dr. Jesus, exterminator Jesus. Jesus says, sure, babe. Oh my God. That was wild. That was actually truly much more wild than I expected, guys. I'm glad that we stuck around for the additional 43 minutes to suffer through that together. Yeah, how did we last through an hour of that? Your guess is as good as mine. I hope they didn't edit this, because if they edited this podcast, huge red flags. Honey, do I have some news for you? Amazing. Out of all the people on the planet, she was the chosen one. In her dreams, she saw the vision. We stuck through it. We made it to the end. And yes, it was pretty awful. Thank you all so much for being here. Channel members, once I get off here, I will be putting out a new video for you to watch. The rest of you will get access on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Remember, next Monday, live stream is a live interview with one of the coaches I've featured in a piece of my content. So that's going to be fun. Make sure to send me your questions. You can do that on Instagram. Send me your voice notes if you have questions you want to ask by voice. Save them for the live chat. It's going to be fun, guys. Pretty sure that was all stream of consciousness without ever getting to the point. Yeah, sounds about right. I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel delivered. I have found delusional Jesus, in case anyone was wondering. That was something. Yes, it was. Thanks for being here. You know what? I appreciate all of you. Be sure to give the stream a thumbs up if you haven't already. It helps me in the algorithm. I do appreciate it. The Lord, the Jesus, algorithm Jesus. Help me help algorithm Jesus by giving this stream a thumbs up if you had a good time. Can we send you voice note scripture? I love it. Get hyped for the live interview. It's going to be fun. I learned something new. Hopefully the thing you learned is that you need to drop out of school and find God, because he will lead you to wealth and prosperity. All right, friends, that's it. Thanks for snarking. Take care. Comb your hair. And I'll see you in my next video. Okay? Okay. Bye.